Dragon.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And so, hey, are you into the intro?
Oh, sorry about that, folks. Give me a second there.
Greetings, Toriyama fans. Jacob Weil here.
And Blue Dragon 5. To pay tribute to the master of manga, Akira Toriyama, and celebrate 40 years of Dragon Ball proper, we're going through the animated saga that is Dragon Ball. To get back in touch with our anime roots as we begin our journey into Dragon Ball.
Previously on Journey into Dragon Ball. Dragon and Jacob watched in terror as Demon King Piccolo wreaked havoc on the world, until Goku put an end to his evil reign of terror. Despite reviving his friends with the Dragon Balls, the victory was short, as our hero learned Piccolo had been reincarnated in one last demon spawn. Now Goku must train under Kami and Mr. Popo for 3 long years, culminating in a final confrontation with Piccolo Junior at the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's the last time you'll be hearing that. Most likely. Right, Dragon?
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, this is the big one, folks. The grand finale of Dragon Ball.
Yes. So, yes, we've reached the end of our main journey for Dragon Ball, and this is such a great. I always thought this was such a great finale for Dragon Ball. I've said this. I'll probably be saying it again when we potentially transition to more, but. I was always the stubborn Dragon Ball fan in terms of I loved the original Dragon Ball, and it was always like a divide between kind of the Kid Goku era and Dragon Ball Z, and I was always like I don't need Dragon Ball Z, I have everything I need for Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
and so I thought I would never have a need for Dragon Ball Z. I don't need to go in for all that action. I can just go for like the whimsy and the fun and the tournaments, and that'll be it. Only to realize it was kind of like that could have had a V8 realization of oh my god, because honestly I did not see the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament when it aired. I basically, for me, it was always like that missing piece where again, it's like I was only able to kind of experience Dragon Ball in these interstitials in terms of the VHS tape releases and what aired on it was kind of airing on Toonami and so on and so forth. So there were kind of gaps there, but again, they filled over time in various ways, shapes, and forms. And I want to say I don't know if it just kind of stopped airing after the Demon King Piccolo saga or not, but eventually I kind of like Dragon Ball Z would kind of play during the day and Dragon Ball was at night. Somehow that worked out. Don't ask me how. It's been forever. I can't really pinpoint it, but essentially I think in my pursuit of Dragon Ball, I ended up with some Dragon Ball Z stuff, like basically the beginnings of the pioneer cut of the of Dragon Ball Z and pioneer dub of Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, so I gave it a watch and I kind of realized, well, this does feel a little bit like Dragon Ball. There are a lot of similar hallmarks in this and everything, and essentially, eventually, when I was collecting the mangas, I kind of like read through and I eventually hit to the. I found the missing chapter, which was this arc, which was this saga, and I kind of realized, oh my god, we bridged the gap. This bridges the gap between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and I realized that Dragon Ball Z is kind of the Batman Beyond equivalent, where essentially it's like, okay, so if Dragon Ball Z is Dragon Ball in the future.
And Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
So it does so ultimately. This arc specifically does so flawlessly in bridging the two. Which I mean, as the stubborn fanboy that I was as a kid, I just never really made the connect until this arc. Truly, that oh man, that not only did it was I foolish for just kind of like shunning a Dragon Ball Z just on principle of just like nothing will ever beat this. I just realized like oh my god, not only did we not just be it. We had like a perfect like transition point for it, and that was this. It was just done so flawlessly. It paid off for trilogy of world martial arts tournaments. We see Goku's progression. He's basically a full master by the end of it all. He surpassed Master Roshi's expectations. It's we we've kind of tightened it up. It's like it's a perfectly plotted tournament, nothing wasted. Much like the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament, kind of nothing wasted. Only again, we've kind of infused like a little bit more, kind of like a little bit more stories in this. I would say than the 21st, because 21st is like it's the first time you fall in love, and this is like okay, we've taken that and we've raised the stakes as high as they could possibly be. So it's like a taste of what Dragon Ball Z will be, but still in the old familiar sandbox. It's kind of what this is, and I tell you, I still I replayed it in preparation for this, but the joy that I have in having the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot game, and that being the first time I've ever truly done like the DLC, because it was kind of an imperative of like I pretty much got the game purely for this DLC. That was the deciding thing, whereas like it wasn't really. This is before Spark and Zero and everything. This is just like what I mean. I haven't played the Dragon Ball Z games in forever. It's not for like lack of like interest per se. It was just kind of like it was like a few systems ago. It was just it's like the PlayStation 3 was like the last system I could really play any Dragon Ball games on, and just kind of move on. It's just kind of like it's kind of hard to going back to it. And it's not that I didn't have a good time with those games. It's just a lot of times passed. And I was like, well, I mean, that's really cool and everything. It's tempting. And I found, oh my god, you get to play the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament. I have to do this. I did, and it was amazing. And again, just playing the opening of that DLC, it makes you because you get to play as Kid Goku one time in that DLC, and it's like, oh my god, why can't the whole game be Dragon Ball? It'd be the best thing ever.
If only they'd make a prequel where you play as Kid Goku searching for the Dragon Balls.
Dear God, I would love that. So the point being, you get to play through this. Essentially, you get to play through this whole era of the transitional kind of era between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and it's so fun. And it's just like you get to play through the whole tournament, and you get to do a lot of slice of life stuff and training, and you get to see you get to relive this whole arc. It's just it was delightful, and even replaying it, it's so good. So again, this story itself, it closes the book so well, before you rush out to get the next volume. Which basically, had I done things chronologically, I probably would have realized, okay, this takes me to Dragon Ball Z. So it's so different than. So it's different than how it all started. It's a hint at what's to come. It's genuine. You get genuine progression from adventure to action to changing the manga and anime game entirely, just in terms of what it's like going from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z. And it's kind of like what we get a tease of here. It just shows you like, man, there's a different flavor here, but we're just kind of like we're taking you through like like the zenith of what Dragon Ball was, to just a little taste of like how much we could raise the stakes and add like the threats.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there's a lot of reverence for this. I mean, it's kind of hard that looking back on it. Still, this is so tightly played. It might be the best saga. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, of the three tournaments, I still love the 21st, but it's hard to beat. This is a good one.
Excuse me. Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from on that. Like again, me as a newcomer, I can totally see that. I have not personally played any of Kakarot. or Sparking Zero. Have you played Sparking Zero?
Oh yeah, I played Sparking Zero. I mean, I've gone back to Kakarot in the interim, which is going to be really annoying because the fight controls are a little different between the two games, and I have to get used to them. So I mean, I just got used to I've readjusted to the Kakarot one, which
Isn't Kakarot I mean Sparking Zero more of a one-on-one or fighting game?
Well, I mean, you have options on that one. You can do one-on-one fighting game. Basically, the main thing it's sold as, like, you can just fight anyone, and throughout Dragon Ball Z and kind of the other spin-offs as well. There's like Z, there's GT, there's Super, there's Daimia.
And yeah, the Daima one was like DLC because it came out after. Right?
That's a thing. So like all that, and I got like I splurged, so I got like the whatever the special edition was, so I can get the DLC. Mainly because I wanted the superhero stuff. That was the main reason I did it.
Like you got the season pass.
Yeah, I guess season pass, yeah.
Yeah, but so like I said, I personally can't speak for playing Kakarot or Sparking Zero. I do kind of want to get into those.
Well, you don't need to enjoy this arc. I'm just saying that it's supplemental.
I know. I'm just saying I can't personally speak on that. So that's how it ties to that. And obviously, this is my first time ever watching this far into the series, so I can't speak on strictly nostalgia either, or that long journey that Dragon had. I can't say I was ever the stubborn fan or anything like that, even though I will say as you all know, I did watch Kai before I came onto this. So going into Dragon, and I did watch a bit of the recut version, as I mentioned. So I was vaguely familiar, but I never actually got to the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament. So everything after like basically the initial peel-off saga was new to me. And it is kind of interesting to see how this series evolved from just this like fun adventure featuring this young boy with a tail meeting this young teenage girl going on an adventure around the world finding mystical orbs and seeing what it's become, even into its original run, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It went from a fun adventure with these whimsical characters inspired by Journey to the West into what you see before you right now in the image we chose. People get like demons getting punched in the stomach.
Yep.
But that's not to say like I didn't enjoy my quote unquote journey, if you will. This particular tournament was kind of interesting. Like you can definitely feel like how Toriyama's like ratcheting up the stakes, definitely racking up the power levels. Even before he goes really crazy with them, like this is just like as Dragon said, a taste of what's potentially to come.
Yeah, we're not over 9,000 yet, kids.
It's like, and technically Toriyama could have ended the story here, and it would have been seen as a strong ending.
Oh yeah.
It's like if he had ended the story here, I mean, I'm not saying he should have. I'm saying, but he could have and maybe moved on.
Yeah.
But I think if he had ended here, the series probably wouldn't be obviously wouldn't have as much reverence as this today, but it'd still be fondly remembered. I mean, maybe not the worldwide phenomenon it is, but for those that knew of its existence.
Yeah.
All right, and I think that concludes my opening statement.
Okay, so let's just jump right into it. So
Goku begins his training under Mr. Popo and Kami.
Yes, so we open. So the way we've decided to kind of broach this is we ended on a hopeful note of last arc where we covered up to the revival and the setup that Goku's in exchange for restoring the dragon and reviving Goku's fallen friends. He's going to be training exclusively at Kami's Lookout for the next 3 years in turn, and for the world martial arts tournament, which he would have done anyway. So it all worked out. But of course, the main mission is to defeat the reincarnated demon Demon King Piccolo Junior.
Yep.
So yeah, so here's a bunch. So we open with a lot of filler with that. So technically, you go by the manga and all that. I've always said with Dragon Ball, I love it to pieces, and I still do, and I will take all the filler. I am tempted though by the Kai treatment for Dragon Ball because 'cause the Kakarot game kind of demonstrated what that might look like. We're essentially we're very close to the manga, in which we don't get a lot of the excess filler like like the training here with Kami. But I like having the training with Kami. I don't mind seeing it, but I can absolutely see like in cutting that, just it might be more effective. Like he's training with Kami, and then we cut to him fully formed, which again adds some mystery, which kind of plays better, like for the manga probably. But still, I love that there are hints and just kind of like like of where he kind of learned these skills in like these little kind of
It
slice of life adventures.
plus it kind of shows that he shows like Goku actually working for it instead of like, oh, he's just suddenly more powerful now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, growing up, you can infer like it's the mystery of like what did he do? But you're right that we are seeing him work at it, so it's not coming easy to him.
It's like so. It's like I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe like one approach worked better for the manga, maybe one worked better for the anime. Also, maybe they had to, do the filler so they could play catch up.
Well, that's the thing. That's why we have the filler here. I mean, that's the main reason we're showing this because they need to fill episodes and need to stretch for time, and
So Toriyama can fill in the manga.
Pretty much. So, Goku learns through his training at the Lookout. He learns a number of useful skills that serve him well in the tournament and explain, how the heck this kid got so strong. And again, we had very much the interesting, almost kind of Loki to end game to Loki kind of setup with Goku has just defeated Demon King. Piccolo is like the strongest character that we've seen ever, and Mr. Popo dispatches with Goku rather easily. So that was like, okay, Goku's got
yeah, it took
a lot to learn.
Yeah, it basically took Goku everything he had to defeat Piccolo.
Yeah.
Only to get his basically backhanded by Mr. Popo.
Yeah, so that was like the fun, like the Infinity Stones are now paperweights, kind of a moment. Like, okay, we have to step up our game here.
Yep. Of course, obviously, as we discussed previously in part 6, the reveal being that this Kami person, or the Guardian of Earth, is also Piccolo.
Yes, which of course is going to create quite the conflict in our story here. That the very symbiotic kind of bond there, where if one Piccolo dies, the other one will also follow.
Yeah, well, technically we don't know their true name, because obviously like one became Piccolo, the other became Kami. Apparently,
well, yeah.
But basically, it is easier to say one. Either say like Piccolo and Kami are like, if one goes, the other one does.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so here are just the kind of bullet points, some of kind of our training interstitials here with Goku. So we have the Sacred Crown, in which basically Goku is tasked to climb a mountain, put on a crown, and not get hit by lightning. So now the skills that he learns through this are being able to dodge attacks and also sense the attacks. That's the main part. That's the main lesson here. How to sense attacks.
Speed and evasion.
Yeah, but also sensing.
Yeah, that too.
So he really he hones this skill thanks to kind of more in the other interstitials, in which he has this fishing lesson with I like to call them the dessert family, the grandpa of this dessert named family. He teaches him kind of like how to sense like fish in fishing, which kind of like blends. It's kind of helping him kind of like learn the missing skill in the Sacred Crown lightning thing.
Yep, it is, and it was and that's actually kind of true to the way a lot of martial arts are taught too. It's like a lot of martial arts are taught like through mundane tasks.
Well, yeah, it's very very Miyagi style.
It's like wax on, wax off.
Exactly. So we have the temporal rotunda. Now this is kind of like I kind of teased this to you before, Jacob. So this and something you're going to see in the Saiyan Saga. We Kami's Lookout has a lot of interesting rooms that are kind of building to the hyperbolic time chamber. So this is
Yeah.
kind of like we have the
Now,
Temple Rotunda is kind of like maybe Toriyama didn't have the hyperbolic time chamber yet. It feels like had he had it, we just might have made all of this like a function of the hyperbolic time chamber.
now is the chamber? Is this Rotunda part of the original manga, or is that filler too?
Well, filler.
All right, so
So it's not Toriyama per se. You know what I mean? Just like the lot of the anime, the property in total. It feels like in hindsight maybe, but yeah, we're killing time, so we're adding like extra functions. So yeah.
we're killing time, so we're adding time travel into the mix.
Yeah, we're gonna do another thing. So the idea we have like some fancy rooms at the lookout, and like in those the small the kind of the really seemingly small building of the lookout. If you really look at it, it's like it's a giant floor space, but really like one central like kind of like group of little buildings.
It is kind of interesting how this arc does kind of flesh out Master Mutaito a little bit, though.
So that's what I really want to hit on. So we basically time travel to back when Master Roshi was an 18-year-old student of Master Mutaito.
And he was just as perverted as he was back then.
Oh, of course, but you saw Fan man. She's a babe.
Yeah, she is. That doesn't really mean you should go looking at her while she's bathing, though.
Oh no, you're right. No, you shouldn't do that. But
I mean, don't get me wrong, she is a looker, but I'm.
oh, absolutely, yeah. But no, you're right. But I'm saying seeing Master Roshi's, he was up to it ever since. Yeah, even
It's like, yep, there he is, folks. The greatest human warrior that ever lived.
Yep,
Pretty
Rubbing
much.
on the ladies.
Yep, he's like, just because he's a pervert doesn't mean he's a
Not a bad guy.
not a bad guy. Not entirely. He's also a great fighter with a deep respect for martial arts.
Yeah, and he's very loyal to Master Mutaito, respectful to him, all that.
In contrast to Shen.
Yeah, so first of all, Master Mutaito, again, who I'm still convinced was the inspiration for Jackie Chan's look. I still think that's Roshi's tribute to his old master. I'm convinced.
I mean, that sounds like a headcanon to me.
That is a headcanon. I like that headcanon.
You know what I'm saying is it does kind of sound like something Master Roshi would do.
I mean, I'm gonna strengthen that a little more here. I'm gonna say that, given the whole like kind of respect that it gets shown to Master Roshi towards the in a moment in this arc, and especially by the end with Kami, it really feels like it's it had reverence for the old master's kind of a recurring theme, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, so Master Mutaito, he's impressed by Goku. Of course, Goku I don't think lands a blow on Mutaito, but he is still he could see that, oh man, this kid's strong. I think he's a very worthy student, and he basically he gives him a lesson in spirit power.
And it also does explain, also demonstrates you, this guy could beat Demon King Piccolo.
Yeah.
Because, this is the guy, because obviously it was the guy that beat him. This is the guy
the first time, yeah.
Obviously, from what I'm guessing, this arc takes place before the old Demon King Piccolo.
Yes, it does. This is if you look at Roshi again, Roshi has hair. He hasn't he and Shen haven't shaved their heads and kind of
and haven't gone their separate ways yet.
Yeah, so that's the thing. This is before then. Now, mind you, the one problem I have with this story is there's a bit of a look. I'm not trying to It's very much a we don't care.
Hold on, let me have the guys say it.
We don't care.
There we go.
Yeah. It's very much a we don't care kind of thing, but the time travel logic here is a bit of, now mind you, Dragon Ball does play later on with Trunks. We do play with time travel logic a little bit, and
at least that one was written by Toriyama.
yeah, that's the thing. This is just more of we want to have this adventure happen, but we're not really thinking of the consequences of. If Goku shows up, surely Master Roshi. Now, mind you, can always have a gag of Roshi does forget certain key things, but
meeting Goku, then this insanely strong kid, and then meeting another insanely strong kid hundreds of years later named Goku.
I think the bigger issue is the whole Crane Hermit plot line where he does something really bad that seemingly would get him expelled from Mutaito's school before when we need him for the Demon King Piccolo stuff we've seen already. So that's the kind of issue I'm taking with it. But
that too.
But again, like I said, there's some time travel logic, but this is Kami's doing. So plus it's like a room in the hyperbole. It's a room at the lookout, which with another thing we're going to see maybe in the Saiyan saga, there's a bit of an undo button, so I wouldn't hold it too firmly on that. The point being, the big observation, which I had a bit of an issue with when I'm thinking about it, I think this plays maybe better, is the fact that none of our stories, they kind of suggest that we're going to revisit them the next episode, but we don't. So here it's like, seems like, okay, maybe Goku might be training for a little bit in the past with Roshi and company, but again,
and the next episode is the next lesson.
yeah, next episode's next lesson, but it maybe suggests that, okay, the compromise is we're going to show you, give me an inkling of how Goku learned very key skills that basically, if you read the manga, it's like kind of cool surprise, like, oh man, look how strong Goku is. He's got tricks up his sleeve. We see where the genesis of the tricks are. We don't see him master the tricks, which is kind of like, so that's kind of the halfway point of, okay, we'll show you just enough, and the rest still is kind of a mystery and still kind of fun, like all the other stuff that he's been able to do.
You see their genesis.
Yeah. So with the spirit power, by the way, headcanon, it's a bridge to Goku learn about Ki, learn about the energy blast.
Yep.
Okay, so Goku versus the clay doll.
The clay doll was a little bit freaky.
Yeah, it's a very trippy exercise. It's kind of like a physicalized version of shadow boxing.
The funny thing is, I remember watching like a future episode after the doll was gone, where it was supposedly Goku fighting Mr. Popo, and for a moment he switched to the shadow puppet models. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You remember that too, right? Like it's him fighting it, but for some reason he gets the weird puppet eyes.
Yeah.
So you know what the exact error I'm talking about then. All right.
Well, there's even a gag here. We do like the puppet eyes thing.
All right. So maybe it's not an error, but I don't know. Go on.
Well, no, I think it's a reference. So.
Yeah. All right.
Or at least a callback to, like, if it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's like he's using the puppet eyes thing.
It was because it was explicitly Goku fighting him, and then we like faced him. He had the eyes, so I don't know what it was.
Anyway,
seriously.
So it's a trippy exercise in which Goku ends up fighting a creepy version of himself that is made out of clay and given life, but for like 24 hours till the sun goes down. It's I love the idea that he's not stronger than Goku. He has the exact same strength, but again, without he's kind of basically the fighter Goku could be.
And Goku does come close, and he only eventually wins because the time ran out.
He went the distance.
I can go the distance.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we have we have the hide and seek game with Mr. Popo as well.
Jason basically learning how to sense his enemies, basically movements and where they're going to be.
Yeah. So the point being, Goku's learned all these battle tactics, which is kind of the main lesson that Mr. Popo tried to impart above all else. That's kind of that's our big takeaway with the filler. So it just can be appreciated. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of, plus it gives like some last vestiges of Kid Goku, which is always appreciated.
Yep.
Right.
The last we see of Kid Goku is him training under Mr. Popo, and a flashback.
Yes. So meanwhile, ground level. So Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, and Chiaotzu. They're Goku. So again, the main thing that we foreshadow in our story, which I really love, by the way, because again, it goes back to the whole point of these tournaments. Again, Master Roshi, his big lesson with Jackie Chan was always that there's always someone better, and they keep inspiring his students to, again, the whole way of the turtle is self-improvement. And with the self-improvement, it's basically, so never stop training to improve yourself, to be your best self.
And the way the people, and the way Yamcha, Tien, Chiaotzu, and Krillin do that is basically do what Goku did. Train under Master Korin.
Yeah, so Goku has become he's become the icon. We really hit on this during the tournament, but we're kind of building to that here, where they're kind of following in Goku's footsteps. So it's like the reveal ultimately that he was Jackie Chan all along to a degree.
Yep.
To a degree. Like he was the symbol all along. Anyways, yeah, so Goku inspired them, and especially Tien of the bunch. Tien's very dead set on like beating Goku without like a technicality.
It's like because he was able to, and as younger Goku was able to basically fight Tien in a fair fight to the very end.
Yeah,
Only winning because he got hit by only losing Goku only losing because he got hit by a truck.
yeah. Yeah, so they train under Master Korin, which we don't really see, but we see like them. They're heading towards Korin Tower.
Yeah, and I kind of I watching it. I kind of did get the feeling, at least, that Yamcha, Tien, Chiatsu, and Krillin stopping in the village with the volcano was definitely filler.
Yeah, it was fun filler though. It was nice.
It was fun, but I could tell like, yeah, this part is definitely filler.
Exactly. So Goku's friends, and this time you might want to put a pin in that we might be seeing again in an upcoming story, an upcoming arc. Goku's friends playing catch up, which often they do. It's
Yep.
kind of a runner through the next couple arcs.
Yep.
So 3 years later, wonderful reunion in the rain. This is always like a really great part of the story here, where everyone's gathered slowly but surely, and we reveal older Goku, finally voiced by Sean Schimmel.
Well, it's like, well, the thing is, like, it kind of built it up too. It's like almost trying to reach a balloon that a little kid lost, or tree, but she couldn't reach it. Suddenly, this mysterious, very tall man came up, just plucked it out of the tree, and gave his head's all bent. It's like, hey, don't you guys recognize me?
The guy in the turban.
Yeah, the guy in the turban. And then it's like, it's me. And then he takes off the turban and revealing that all familiar hairdo.
Yep.
And they realize, like, holy crap, this tall, now voiced by a man, is Goku.
Goku, roughly, I think, age 18 at this point.
Yep, he's like, holy crap, this kid is this little, especially like Bulma's reaction is like the most not necessarily visceral, but
It's most in shock.
It's like, I mean, she met him when obviously Goku was just a very little boy.
Yep.
Now seeing him this tall, basically almost mountain of a man.
Yep.
She's definitely in shock.
Yeah.
and also the others arrived fairly late to the story,
which is a fun little nod to what we had with the 22nd turn where Goku showed up at the last minute. Now the friends show up at the last minute.
Well, yeah, because he took the whole "don't use your Nimbus" too literally.
Yeah, so here they kind of pull a similar thing where again it was like them training the way Goku did. So in doing so, that means they're gonna show up at the last minute.
Do you think that was intentional on their part, or?
I'd like to think so, but well, no, I mean not on their. I don't think they did intentionally, but I think in the storytelling, like maybe it was like a nod to it.
Because I don't think that was because from what I read that that was not in the manga. That was just something that they added to the anime.
Oh well. Anyway, which by the way, this whole like the reunion though, that is they replicate in the whole Kakarot game, which is also really nice.
I do kind of like how Goku, like once he knew they were there, he basically just like grabbed them and rushed them to the sign up sheet.
Yeah.
Basically, so they wouldn't be able to miss the deadline.
Yeah. So it's a really nice moment where, between Goku and Krillin, after everything they've been through in the Demon King Piccolo saga, just this whole like moment of like Krillin thanking Goku for reviving him, which was really beautiful.
It's like they almost immediately recognized each other. Well, Krillin's kind of easy to recognize because his short stature and the dots on his head.
Yeah.
But everyone but Krillin hadn't seen Goku in a long time, and he was like immensely grateful for like, you brought me back to life.
So let's take a moment just to acknowledge kind of our older, Goku and Krillin here. So Sean Schimmel, again, well, honestly, it's on both of them, just flawless casting because it does sound like the kids growing up, which always was just like a boon to Funimation what they did there.
Sean Schimmel and Sonny Strait.
Yeah, just again, they absolutely sound like these kids growing up because Sonny Strait does sound like kind of like that Krillin rasp in his voice, but just kind of like more matured and just kind of like a little more kind of casual.
I think it's more like obviously they had Sean Schemmel and Sonny Strait first, and then they found kids who would, well, not found kids, but found people who would sound like them younger, right?
Well, Jacob, honestly, I'm not sure.
I mean, I guess that's how I thought it went anyway, because
I
I
mean,
thought,
that's how I thought it went too, but I was looking at the years in production here, and I don't know. I just, for the life of me, I don't know what got. I'm saying in terms of for the sorry, you know what? I realized. Okay, so here's what I was. I think you're right. I was thinking of the original, like just the Japanese production, but not the American dub. So I think you're actually right. That's probably what they did. I was thinking like actual like production, like like when they made them in the first place. You're right though.
because yeah,
I think you're. I long story short, I think you. I'm pretty sure you're right about that. I was my wires were crossed on that one. That's probably what I was. I was just thinking that was the main thing I was looking into, like between like the years. Like for example, like the manga went straight in from like when Dragon Ball ended to Dragon Ball Z. Obviously, it was sans a letter, but
yeah.
um, the anime followed suit. That's the thing, because Dragon Ball ends in '89, then continues in '89 with Dragon Ball Z in terms of just the original Japanese version of it.
Basically, like I don't know if they're like a weeks apart, but they were at least
Not weeks,
not,
I think it's like months.
yeah, like they didn't have to wait very long between Dragon Ball to Z.
Yeah, I want to
Whereas
say it
the
was like probably from like February to May. I think I don't know.
whereas like where the manga obviously just basically remained the name Dragon Ball throughout the entire run.
Yeah,
but as you were saying, like it
well,
was
you're right
bad.
though. It's flawless casting on both eras of them.
Yes, and like have like the reunion between Goku and Krillin. I mean everyone, but especially Goku and Krillin. It's like those like those best friends that they almost went to college together. They became like super close best friends, and they haven't seen each other in years. But like the moment you reconnect, it's like they haven't. It's just like it's only feels like days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, no, for sure. I mean, they just get back in their classic rhythms of their best friends. It
And, the, and they're
feels
even
right.
roommates again.
Yeah, they have great chemistry. These two because they feel like instant friends. And again, just Stephanie Nadolny and Sean Schimmel. Again, just again experiencing through my history of Dragon Ball was always like just like kind of flawless casting, and just then eventually seeing this at some point, like oh my god, the transition's like kind of perfect when you put them side by side with when you have the filler and you go to this where it does feel like that headstrong kind of like kind of jovial kid. Basically, he's a big kid now, but he has more serious moments.
Yeah, man, I can definitely see Stephanie Nadolny's voice for Goku maturing into sounding like sounding like Sean Schemmel, obviously.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Oh,
But there's also a mysterious entrant in the tournament as well.
yeah. So we had this. Here's something to catch. I didn't really until looking at it with a fine tooth comb here. I love that we have a light foreshadow potentially with Piccolo Junior here. He's introduced. He's in his adult form, and I guess in his teenage form technically.
Even though he's
Um,
only 3 years old.
that's a thing. 3 years old, teenager, adult. It's all relative with Piccolo.
Yeah.
He's like part plant. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so Piccolo Junior. He's saving a woman and child.
which is
However, he
which
did endanger them in the first place, though. So I don't know. It kind of evens out.
I mean, saving them does seem a little out of character at this point.
Wasn't it was more of just kind of like, but I don't know. You're right. At this point, it is a little out of character, but it was always like an interesting, given where he's going to go with things. And mind you, it wasn't like saving him. It was just more like I think like destroying the thing that was going to crush them that he caused to crush that he caused to be falling. So more training, but I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So yeah, so we the mysterious Junior.
Junior. Like who could he possibly be?
Yeah. So I love the bit where they all opt to wear the Turtle School uniform as a tribute to Master Roshi, even though they have no obligation. Roshi didn't bring the outfits; they kind of prepared on their own.
Like Goku, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, Chiao. I don't think Chiaotzu wore one,
Yeah.
but
Well, no, not Tien either.
all right. But definitely, but Goku, Tien, and Krillin. Not Tien, Yamcha.
Yes, Yamcha.
Sorry.
Anyway, so
There's a lot of names.
yeah. Anyway, so it's a really sweet and lovely tribute. And I love how we call it out later with the Crane Hermits. Who, by the way, again, just real heel. Like in the time travel episode, he was gonna set the girl on fire because she would go on a date with him. Like what a prick. you know.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyway, so
I mean, getting ghosted is one thing, but
yeah.
I mean that's a whole other thing. I mean, I know you can get burned in relationships if you all that, but that's taking it to a different level.
Well, he didn't do like a fair fight with Goku. He's all like, "Oh, I'm such a skilled fighter," but he like, "Hey, if you fight me, we're gonna hurt the girls." Like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, she'll definitely date you after that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, this is gonna work out really well for you, Shen. Anyway, so
It's like, welcome back to say, Dragon. Teenagers are dumb.
yep. So Shen here, he returns. We'll get into why he's returning in a second. I just want to note that when he shows up, he calls out he targets the turtle school here, and Roshi makes a point that look, they're not my students anymore. This is just like a nice tribute. And, Krill makes the point like, yeah, we actually like our master.
And not to mention that one of his former students is with Master Roshi.
Essentially, yeah, he's not. I don't know how official is, but he's not wearing the uniform, but he's obviously adopted Master Roshi as his master. So
Yeah, I mean, Master Roshi did train Tien and even wanted to take him in. So
that's true.
I mean, he may not be may not be repping the Turtle Hermit School, but he's still there. He's still there with Master Roshi's support, and obviously not with not with Master Shen, obviously.
And it's still really nice, by the way. I still love the whole Tien Master Roshi stuff that we had in the 22nd tournament that then kind of carried over up until this point. It's great.
Yep.
Okay, so Goku no longer has a tail thanks to Kami. And now to Jacob, I was so delighted by this to find this out in the rewatch. It's like we explain the moon.
Yep. It's not who knows if it's a dub thing or they added it in the original, or they added it in the original one. But yep, it's like Kami said I would turn into an ape again if the moon came back, so it's gone.
No, he didn't say ape. He didn't say that.
All right, but he basically did imply that he got rid of his tail.
Goku doesn't know what Kami meant by it, but he says like, Kami said the only way to put the moon back is if I didn't have a tail.
Yep. And so he got rid of it.
Yep.
I mean, it was that simple the whole time. He could just get rid of it himself.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, Kami's essentially God, so he can do that. So
obviously, the real reason is Toriyama didn't want to draw it anymore.
That's true.
It's kind of amazing to hear that a lot of these things that Toriyama did was like he was basically making it up as he went along and basically writing by the seat of his pants.
See, I always loved to think that I would every time I imagine Toriyama just kind of making these statements, I just imagine like the crowd or the press or whoever's doing the anime fall. Like,
they're just like,
yeah.
It's just like he's just like, yes.
they all topple over. They all do the anime shock and fall.
The face fault, I think it's called.
Yep. The face fall?
Face fault, I thought it was called.
Face fault.
I don't know. I know
I didn't know it had an actual name. I was just.
I don't. That might not be the same name, but it's just like the classic. Like they either fall forward or backwards and shock, and their legs are sticking up off the ground.
Yeah, it was one of probably my favorite anime trope. I don't know. It was just great.
It appeared it was more common in the 80s and 90s than it is now, but I think it still happens.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. So Tien is smart enough to realize that he kind of recognizes. He doesn't know the specifics. He recognizes Junior as he must work. He's affiliated with Demon King Piccolo.
Like, technically he's not wrong, but he just doesn't know how right he is.
I love that Goku's like saying, "Look, Tien, just keep that a secret for the time being, which I don't want to cause a panic."
I mean, you'd think that people would notice, like, hey, he's green, he has pink spots, so like, Is he Piccolo?
I mean, to be fair, we've had like people, various different like animal species and colors and everything. So I mean, he's wearing a turban, so they're not seeing the antenna horn thing. So
Well, I mean, to be fair, but there's still not that many people that are green.
yeah.
I mean, like, oh, like we just defeated this evil green monster. Oh, hey, look, a random green guy.
Well, it has been like 3 years, and they know for a fact the guy's dead and he blew up. So I mean, I think they're just
but they also know he can spawn demons.
well, they don't know that.
Most of them do.
I mean, I'm saying our guys know. Like the public doesn't know that.
I know, man. Maybe I'm just splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so we have the preliminary eliminations. We had 72 fighters being whittled down to 8.
It's like obviously, obviously Goku making short work of his opponents,
including King Choppa. Now there was an inconsistency here. I want to know if you caught this too. Just King Choppa making a big deal that he says I survived. He says, no, King Choppa, you didn't. You died. We all saw it. You died going up against King.
I mean, I did notice that, but I interpreted it as like he was trying to boast.
Okay, so it is just him, no, I wasn't killed.
No, like I said, that's how I interpret it. I'm not saying that's how it's meant. No. I'm just saying maybe, and I was like, maybe he's just either he's trying to hide it or just it's a writing or / dub thing.
What's the thing? I don't know.
I mean, King Choppa is kind of one to be. Well, he is kind of a boastful type. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, the only way it actually makes sense if he's just boasting, but if you take it literally, then yeah, it's kind of a dub translation. Like like someone may have not done their due diligence on research for that one.
Yeah, that's how it is in the original Japanese. I don't know. But
I do have a dub issue. Honestly, there's one main dub issue I have in this. It's at the very end of our main story, which we'll get to. But we'll build there. But anyway,
I'm kind of anticipating that now.
Yeah. Okay. So so we have King Choppa. Just taking out with one hit.
Like Goku just basically moves his arm once, and he just immediately knocks him out.
Yep. So I love the detail. I love when we call this kind of thing where Chiaotzu messes with the lot numbers to help the plot, essentially, to make sure none of our principal guys get taken out, so they can all make it to the finals without having to fight each other early.
Yep. And the remaining and there's some mostly familiar faces, except one anonymous.
Well, there's also a masked face.
Yeah.
So we reveal, yeah.
I mean, it's obvious who the masked face is, especially probably not so much in the manga, but probably in the anime where you can hear the voice.
Yeah. So Yajirobe is basically a masked fighter who goes up against I'm assuming named Hero. Now I'm going to be honest, Jacob.
Yeah.
Every time I would go back to this, I always thought that Hero was Shen stealing the whole Jackie Chan idea. I always thought that's what it was before we revealed what. Honestly, before Shen actually showed up in the story.
That's what I thought it was too. But I think he had a similar sounding voice, a similar build. Maybe they even have the same voice actor. I don't know, but
yeah.
But then I noticed the inconsistency of that being true. I was like, wait, if Shen's in the audience, why is Hero back there?
Exactly.
Then you realize, okay, they're not the same person.
But still, I love that it's kind of a red herring, though. You think maybe that's him, and you just question who the heck is Hero, and then we reveal, oh wow, it's a cool reveal on Hero.
Yep.
Anyway, so Hero again, very much almost kind of the unassuming fighter, kind of almost drunken master-esque.
Playing with pratfalls, confusing your enemy, almost making his victories look like an accident.
Yep, the lucky accident fighter, the Don Adams school of fighting. All right, so Chiaotzu ends up. The point being, all of our guys make it, with the exception of Chiaotzu, who gets put in the hospital by cyborg mercenary Tao.
Oh boy!
So, how did you feel about this one?
It was kind of interesting to see mercenary Tao, especially considering how I thought he was blown up by Goku.
Well, I love we don't say until he was absolutely blown up.
Yep, we never saw it. So
I think it was a mushroom cloud. No one wanted to look at the icky details. So how he survived is a mystery. But
the story doesn't even go into how it happened.
Well, we don't need to know how.
I know, but That's the funny thing. Like, I don't think even Toriyama could have. He felt like, okay, there's no logical way I can explain this, so it's just gonna say like basically saying his brother went through great lengths to make it happen.
I love symbolically in the story what we're saying with Tao, with the cyborg thing, is that Tao, the difference between the Crane School and the Turtle School is that the Turtle School, they learn from defeat. They learn, again, it's about, the study of life. It's about, the study. It's the humility of the Turtle School. There's always someone better. That's the main governing lesson. Where Crane School is like, no, there is no one better. We train ourselves to be ruthless and the best and all. But again, it's like there's no humility at all. It's this idea that it's all about power. It's unearned power essentially. It's like using power for the wrong reasons, and that's essentially what we have here. Where Tao learned nothing from defeat, and what he did is he gave himself artificial power. He made himself stronger. He used money and like technology to make himself seemingly stronger. But again, he didn't learn anything from his defeat. It's just
with
ego.
Obviously, with some help from Shen.
Well, yeah.
So he's like, so we basically made himself a machine. Made himself a literal killing machine.
Yeah, so I mean, I love the symbolism there, just like the lesson that we have. That he learned again. Him going up. Well, we'll get there one day. Real quick, one gag, and then we'll just continue on into the Tao stuff. I love the announcer is freaked out by Krillin being alive.
He's like, yeah, but I'm alive again.
By the way, I believe this is the first time we gave the announcer the mustache.
Yep. It is kind of funny to see that subtle change.
Yeah, God, I love the announcer is always like one of the best parts of the tournament.
Now, who does the voice of the announcer?
Okay, as a kid, I always thought it was Kyle Hebert, but it's not. It's God, I'm blanking on his name because it's not the. Jeez, I got nothing. You're gonna have to look it up if you really want to know who he is.
All right, I'm not gonna worry about it right now.
Anyway, but he's great. They do maintain him throughout between Dragon Ball and Z, so it's still him.
So it's still there. Oh, so he's still there. All right.
Oh, he's still, yeah. You will see him. You'll see him again.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Anyway, let's see. So. Okay, so Tien versus Tao. So this is like the first match, and the tournament's like begun here. So we have this flashback in which we see Tao. We learn that Tao was Tien's idol back when he wanted to be an assassin. He wanted to be essentially his idol was mercenary Tao.
And it does really show how ruthless the Crane School is. Like Tien getting like brutally beaten.
Yeah, he trained. By the way, in the game. You get there's a like a level you can play where you get to play the Tien. It's optional. You get to play the Tien flashback of this scene where he is fighting Tao.
Yeah. Is that?
So
yeah, go on.
So he trained him brutally. It was just till the poor kid he's unrelentingly.
And it's kind of interesting to show the whole show. It kind of, as you mentioned, the kind of symbolism there, like under that ruthless training. Tien was actually not the strongest he could be.
Yeah.
It was under Master Roshi's tutelage and training, like following Goku's example, that made Tien that much stronger.
I think what's fascinating about Tien is that, so in pairing Tien with Tao, there's a lot of stuff there because one, we have the whole Crane School connection. Two, like he was very in the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament, he was fighting for the wrong reasons and avenging Tao. Again because it was like honoring like a bad master and just this path of being a killer, all this stuff. Tao was very representative of everything that was wrong with what Tien's path was. So Tien is this was a very strong fight to begin all of this.
And the thing is now he's actually pulling a Master Roshi.
Yeah. So first off, all these fights. Let's say this. Again, all these fights, nothing wasted. They all add like a lot of layers to our story, which is really impressive. Even our gag manga fight, we got a little bit of something. But
Toriyama's like the master of that.
That's what I'm saying. Like we just keep getting stronger with these. Where again, if you compare our three tournaments, again, I think the 21st and the 23rd are. I mean, it's really hard to rank him, but I think consistently we've taken the best elements of both the 21st and 22nd, and we kind of combined them into the 23rd. That's what it feels like.
I
Like
mean,
from a plotting.
I mean, you yourself even said like you thought that the 22nd was probably like the weakest, but
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like again, if you take the plotting of the 21st and you take the stakes of the 22nd, or like the high points of the 22nd, all like the whole Tien Master Roshi stuff from the 22nd, and basically combine them, you kind of get what we have here, which is like a perfectly plotted. And it's like, what if we took the best parts and we just kind of like
like,
structured them flawlessly?
all you, like an all you can eat buffet.
Exactly. So yeah, so we pay off a lot with Tien here. He is now in the Master Roshi position, and the best thing with Tien is that Tien never really lost in the tournament, like throughout his fights, but he learned not from defeat, but he learned from victory. And again, it was like the lesson that Roshi imparted, that even if you win, you're even if you win, don't let it like make you get cocky. Don't let it like.
And
Which again,
even
had he been an assassin, absolutely would have.
and with and the whole lesson at the end of it even rang true. It's like, see, hear those cheers? They're for you.
Yeah, I
And even
showed him a better path.
yep, it's like, and now like as we mentioned before, it's like under the brutal tutelage of under Tao and all that, he wasn't the strongest he could be, but training under Master Roshi, he was able to basically defeat Master Mercenary Tao with relative ease once he realized that he's so far gone.
Yeah. So again, the crippling weakness of the Crane school is that, in contrast to the Turtle schools, it's basically strength versus self-reflection. The Turtle school is all about self-reflection in these battles and kind of like to train the heart and mind. Where again, Crane school all about like strength, and because of that, Tao is he's easily outmatched. And my favorite thing about this is that Goku from this fight onward. So Goku, he's full on. He's become Master Roshi again, in the sense that he's also kind of become Jackie Chun ultimately in the tournament here. But he is he's he's very knowledgeable. He's so Goku has become so knowledgeable thanks to Popo and Kami, and he's assessing the fights exactly like Master Roshi would in the previous tournament. So he's like he knows like, oh yeah, Tien's got this without question. He knows, oh, he's good. He'll be fine. So Tao is outmatched, and Tien, out of respect, he begs Tao to withdraw with honor. But Tao has no dignity, and I love it's so pathetic. Like Tien's like basically grabbing him by the arm, he's like walking him out of the ring, like in a ring out. But then again, Tao, no honor, no dignity. He cheats, and here's something that's going to carry over, Jacob. There's a flag for it. Tao, he cheats instantly, pulls a weapon with his cyborg enhancements. He has like a blade, and he cuts Tien's chest, leaving a scar. Tien's going to have that scar throughout the rest of the whole series.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that even carrying on like the future shots of him, I did notice that.
Yep. So this is where it came from.
And and Tao is immediately disqualified, but he doesn't really care about the fight. He just wants to kill Tien.
So then he uses the Dodon cannon, which again Tien just takes it, and like it doesn't leave a scratch on him, and like Tao like freaking out. And this is what's so wonderful. Again, Tien, he's just making a plea here for again because he's like, look, you and Master Shen taught me how to fight. Okay, so he's so appreciative of what they've done for him, even though he's gone another path, and he wants to show respect to his former masters, even though they don't deserve it.
And basically, when it shows how far gone they are.
Yep, and again, it's a great starting this fight is great because it shows you the self-reflection we can have and the progression that we can have with our characters, and it's a solid fight, and it really shows that Tien is confronting the worst path that he could have taken, and he takes it out with one punch, which is great. He just takes out Tao with one punch and just brings him to his brother, and just like, I don't want to see you two again.
Yeah,
and I love that we go from like it's a nice, so Tao loses in disgrace, and you really feel for Tien, as he closes the loop on his past. It's a very cathartic thing. It's this bit where Krillin's trying to congratulate him, and Yamcha's saying, you know what, just give him some space. It's a somber end to that fight.
Yeah.
And then of course this leads to Goku versus Anonymous. So we should talk about Anonymous.
Yeah, it's like who is Anonymous Dragon?
Well,
It's like
Anonymous is a scorned ex-lover of Goku's,
who he has no idea who she is.
which is hysterical. And she just yells at it when this shows up. She's like, "Hey, do you recognize?" He says,
No,
"Shut up! Who are you?
it's
You
like
fool!"
it's like at first Anonymous is all kind of like shy and coy, It's like, do you
Yeah.
remember me, Goku? And he's like, no. And then immediately she flies into a fit of rage.
And again, he's scared. They're all scared. Like, you fool! And I love the Krillin and Yamcha. They demand details, and Goku's, I really don't know who she is.
Yep. But people who are very familiar with the manga, even up to this point, might have remembered who she was. But
yep, I love it. I think any astute, viewer can probably piece together who she is.
yeah,
But still, the first time you watch it, I do love the idea that it was kind of like a fun reveal for everyone. Only Oolong was the only one who figured it out.
of all people, it was Oolong.
I love that.
Like him of all people, like not even not Master Roshi, not Bulma, no one knew that. Like he figured out like, oh hey, it's Chi Chi.
Yep. So this is a fun and kind of a funny fight where we see Anonymous is
like the only reason it went on so long is because Goku wanted to find out who she was more than anything else.
Yeah, I love that we see that had she been going up against an ordinary fighter, she actually would have been quite formidable. We see she's putting up, it's like Goku's like, if Goku wasn't making efforts not to actually fight back, because right now he's just basically defensive. He's blocking her. She's not landing a punch at all, and he's keeping up with her.
I mean, the fact that she made it to the final 8 shows how good of a fighter she is.
Yeah. So she So Goku uses this air punch, which by the way is in the Kakarot game, by the way, because before he learns ki, before he learns the ki blast, he has like the air punch like this.
Oh, nice.
So he uses like the air to ring her out, to do a ring out, where he basically throws one punch, it doesn't connect with her, just blows her out of the ring, and Roshu's like the only one who saw it.
And after the before the match, they made the promise of being like, if I lose, I'll tell you who I am.
Yeah.
And
so Goku's like, okay, like during the fight, I think they made this agreement. This is okay.
And so he basically knocks her out of the ring immediately.
I apologize. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blow you out of the ring that hard. So what's your name? Like, if we're gonna. Also, during the fight, we also mentioned that you promised that I would be your bride.
Like before, at this point, we have no idea who she is. Like nobody knows. Like what? Goku's gonna get married?
Right, Krillin. This is the fall over. Like, hey, Krillin, what's a bride?
And they're like,
it's like Goku. Roughly translate means your life's over. Then Yamcha just gives him like, no, it means you're gonna marry somebody, Goku.
It's like obviously Krillin changes his tune later on.
He does.
When he meets a certain cybernetic lady.
Well, he's always loved the Terminator movies.
Yep. He does, and it's not the Sarah Connor he falls in love with.
Nope. Anyway, so honestly, we have kind of two gag manga fights here, and this is the Goku Chi-Chi. We revealed to be Chi-Chi. So Chi-Chi is anonymous.
It's like he does. It's like when he remembers Chi-Chi, and the fact that they show in the manga, it's like shows him testing to see if she's a girl.
Yeah.
That's the flashback they choose to show.
Well,
it's
kind of how she knew, like, okay, this guy's special.
Yep. It's like she's like, yep, I want to marry that man.
Well.
Yep. And of course, it's like so.
Well, technically, that's when he fell for her too, because she pushed him off the cloud.
Yep. And of course, he's like, besides, if we're going to be spending the rest of our lives together, it might be a good idea if I knew what to call you.
And Chi-Chi, the Ox King's daughter, says, Chi-Chi!
He's like, he remembers Chi-Chi like basically being as small as he was at one point, now seeing her as a fully grown woman. I do kind of find it interesting how they kind of leaned into the Chinese design for Chi-Chi, like especially like her or like her Chi-Pao that
Yeah.
she's wearing.
A lot of people point out the Chun-Li look with Chi-Chi.
Yeah, it's like she definitely reminded me of Chun-Li.
Yeah. So, by the way, I think this might be the best era of Chi-Chi maybe throughout the whole franchise. I don't know, because this was like, at the very least, it's the most underrated like era of Chi-Chi, where she's very beautiful. Not that she isn't beautiful later on, but it's just like, later on we're going to see some newlywed Chi-Chi. It's a lot of fun.
like she's young, about to get married. She's happy, full of life. She's not a mother at this point. She's no longer a little girl.
Nothing against Mother Chi-Chi, but it's just, she could be a bit much at times with her overprotectiveness of Gohan. So we don't have to worry about that quite yet here, which is very refreshing.
Like I say, I still maintain that she's the most powerful being in the universe.
Well, still, and we kind of see that here too.
Yep, she's the most powerful being in the universe.
Yep. Anyway, so Goku explains, it's like, well, Chi-Chi, when I said I wanted a bride, I thought it meant something to eat.
And then she's like,
I thought you wanted to get something to eat.
Oh, but then he turns it around in a very sweet manner.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is so beautiful here, where he basically proposes.
Basically, like saying like, talking. I may not know a lot, but basically kind of saying that he didn't mean to do that in the past. But like I know what my heart wants. Will you marry me, Chi-Chi?
Oh my God, it's such a classy proposal.
And just immediately her face just lights up, and she's like, "Yes, yes."
I just think it's a big. This tournament is huge for Goku in his life. One of these again, it's he meets the love of his life, and of course
he met his wife.
met his wife, met his rival. It's a whole.
Yeah, save the world.
Yeah.
And not to mention the fact that he won.
Yeah, it's again so many big moments for Goku in this tournament. So we ended big on this tournament.
It's like, but I do kind of like how it's like how like afterwards like this is the first time everyone's left the match engaged.
Yeah, we've had divorces in the ring, but not engagements. All right. So again, the whole proposal in the ring, very cute. Now this bit always made me laugh, and that's something I think is only in the dub. Only in the anime. The callback with Yamcha, where he pay off the whole Yamcha. He had to put the moves on Chi-Chi back in the Pilaf saga, and basically Chi-Chi's letting them down gentle, like I know you have feelings, Yamcha, but Goku's
and Bulma's just up to the side going like,
Well, you don't understand. She was a kid back then. It's like, wait, no.
that makes it even worse. Like he was basically he was digging himself a bigger hole.
Yeah, it's like,
deeper hole.
Wait, no, don't go off with the short guy with the pointy ear. No.
Oh god, but the moment Yamcha actually realized, like, wait, Chi-Chi? He's like, oh crap, it's Chi-Chi.
Yeah. Yamcha's worst nightmare.
And then he's like, wait, that's the little girl.
Yep. Okay, so
and Bulma's obviously not too happy.
Nope. So we refocus things in our plot here. So we have Krillin versus Junior.
Yeah, and Krillin actually does last quite a while, even earning Junior's respect.
So that's the thing. So the whole point of this fight is it gives Krillin closure in a sense. That he, he went toe to toe with essentially the force that killed him in the first place. So this is a big victory. This is kind of this whole fight is representative of the self-improvement of the Master Roshi's teaching style, which Krillin gave his best. He did his best, and no one's walking out of that. When he walks out of that ring, no one's like booing him or anything. They're all very proud and excited for him. They saw a great match. Everyone had a good time, and Krillin, he got to use some new tricks, got to show what he learned, and he went up against a really powerful guy. And he didn't foolishly get himself hurt or killed.
Yeah, and again, going up against Piccolo, he didn't win, obviously, but going up, and the only reason he's not dead is because of the rules of the tournament.
Well, that's true, but
And Piccolo, at this point, when Junior, I should say, at this point, was respecting the rules.
I mean, Junior could have crippled her. That's the thing. Junior could have done what Yamcha, Tien did to Yamcha if he really wanted to, which that's
But
saying something.
but he at least respected him enough to just basically knock him out of the ring.
Because Krillin did pull one over with him with that Kamehameha wave if Junior didn't dodge it at the last second.
Yeah. It's like so it's a good thing that Krillin didn't die this time.
Yeah, and again, withdrawals with honor here, which again cannot be said for Tao. So again, we show like a dishonorable defeat
Like
versus a defeat with honor.
it's like the big yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like Krillin willingly cedes the match.
Oh yeah,
Like he knows he can't beat this guy.
yep. So next match, again, back to we're kind of going from like kind of the drama to the comedy to back and forth there. So now we're going back to the comedy with Yamcha versus Hero.
Yeah. And it goes pretty surprising. Was it around this point where Goku realized who Hero actually was?
During like towards the end of the fight, and then after the fight, he realized who it was. Yeah,
It's like you're like, wait a minute,
so Goku figured it out during the fight, like seeing it unfold.
and he's like, wait a minute, Kami?
Yep. So this is kind of the gag manga. I would say more so than the Chi-Chi, but this is like the gag manga fight. Where we have like again Hero kind of playing the fool, and however in a sense the less comedic side is that he is actually there is a respect between him and Yamcha here, where Yamcha's being really nice to him in the fight, and but again Hero's kind of showing that in kind here, where it's like he's giving him some pointers and some lessons, which Yamcha's kind of scoffing at before he sees this guy actually he's been playing the fool intentionally. So we're seeing that Yamcha is like, he's always kind of learned in the ring as he went along. He's kind of doing that here, where he does land one blow. Essentially, he lands a blow on God, where he he used the spirit ball attack. So no one can take that away from him. He did slug God one,
and he earned respect from God.
Essentially,
Yeah, he did.
So Yamcha learns how again. Whole point here. Yamcha learns from his defeat, and he's in good spirits. They're both very good natured at the end. They're walking out kind of palsy. It's a nice defeat for Yamcha.
Yeah.
So Goku, meanwhile, he figures out that it's Kami.
Yeah, he wonders what that Kami's even doing.
Which he'll call him out. He'll call him out on that in the 2 fights from now, but we'll get there.
Yep.
So Goku versus Tien. Okay, this is great because this is like the big rematch that I think a lot of people are going into this one for, and
this is basically the first match that goes across multiple episodes.
Yes, that's right.
So this is definitely a big one. It's a rematch of basically the final two from the previous tournament, and to see who will go on to fight in the finale.
Yeah, so a lot of people they went into this to a degree. A lot of people would go in this expecting Goku and Tien being like maybe the final match, but obviously with Junior there it can never be the final match. But still, it's like the fun misdirect of okay, we're doing the big rematch early. This is like what the heck could our finale be, or what the heck could it be like more accurately?
Oh yeah.
So it's a big rematch. Goku, he's withholding. It's great is that throughout this fight, he's kind of withholding his strength for Junior.
Yep, and like basically when he takes off, this. From what I understand, that this is like the first time we actually see the revelation that Goku was fighting with weights.
This is yes, that is absolutely true, and I have always. This has always been one of my favorite things, and I've mentioned this a little bit before with the whole training stuff with the turtle shell. But my favorite thing in Dragon Ball with the training has been like the whole weighted clothing or weighted shelled clothing methods. The idea of you pack on all this weight. Again, the whole Jack jumps good episode from Samurai Jack. Same principle. The idea that if you lug around something really heavy and you move, and eventually your body gets used to it. So then when you remove the heavy thing, you'll be stronger and be able to maybe be faster and be able to jump higher.
I wonder if anyone's actually ever tried that in real life.
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, it's the same. I've always viewed like the same principle of like maybe not to this degree, mind you, but because
obviously.
I mean, basically assuming you don't pull muscles, I think it might actually work. That's the thing. They have the weight in the right places.
I mean, that's kind of similar to how like training in zero G works.
Yeah, that's the thing. So in theory, well, I'm not an expert. I'm not like a weightlifter or anything, but
I mean, I'm not either, but like, it's almost the same principles, like I said, training in zero G or like training under extreme duress on Earth, so you can get used to it as when you obviously when astronaut training, basically what I'm trying to say.
So, like I said, this is always my favorite thing in the training of Dragon Ball. So, seeing it applied to the clothing was always like the coolest reveal ever.
It's like in the reveal, it's not just training. He's been fighting this whole time wearing that stuff,
So
like
again,
wearing a couple 100 pounds of like weights on his body.
so again, in my fandom, we call this back in the Saiyan Saga, and I would always love that. That's where I fell in love with that idea, and I was like, oh man, I wonder. So then we see the origin of it. Here's like, oh my god, this is where it came from. This is even better. So Goku essentially this whole tournament up to this point, again, right now in the fight, he and Tien are pretty evenly matched, but Tien's he's not cocky, but he's giving him a respectful assessment. It's like the whole it's almost like a Bushido thing. He's telling him he's not hiding his cards here. He's like, look, this is Goku. This is a good fight, but I really don't think you have a chance here. Like they're kind of jabbing each other a little bit. One could say. Like not trash talk, but just kind of like kind of play, they're some playful banter. Whereas like they're giving their all in this fight, but Goku, you and I were pretty evenly matched here, but you can't match my speed. Simple as that. So
what Goku does instead just takes off his clothes.
he takes off. Oh yeah, I guess we all worked up a sweat. I mean, sure, why not? So he removes the shirt underneath the gi, and then the boots and the wristbands, which in total weigh approximately 140 kilos.
Which if I know correctly, is like at least several 100 pounds.
Yeah.
140 kilos is approximately 308 pounds.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but he's just like, and you saw how he was basically moving like nothing was impeding him at all. but even his shirt was like incredibly hard for the hardened, Tien and Yamcha to lift. Even his his bands, like when they his wristbands, created cracks in the ground when they fell.
Love it.
It's like he has
such a cool idea.
It's like he has a different gravity it's a different kind of gravity works differently for him than everyone else.
Yep, and this course serves him very well. Going into other training methods in Dragon Ball Z, which we'll get to. So the point of this is great. So Goku's almost quadrupled his speed. Speaking of which, Tien,
and he has the thing is he's quadrupled his speed without really losing any of his strength.
Yeah. So Tien's in trouble, so he pulls out all the stops with his essentially, call it what you will. In the dub, I think he calls it the quadruplification. But really, it's the multiform. He pulls the multiform.
Yep. Basically, Tien splits himself into 4, which, as Goku eventually points out, was his first mistake.
Yeah, so this is what I was hinting at, by the way, that Tien, he would kind of do the arm thing again, in a sense, where he basically this is the graduated form of the multi-arm, where he split himself into 4. Which is a really cool reveal and a really cool idea, and I love that Goku, very smartly, he found 2 flaws in this. One was the solar flare, which he learned from Tien. He used it on him here.
So yeah, it is kind of interesting, which even the announcer points out, the very same move that Tien used is now being used against him.
Yep. Thank you, announcer.
Yes.
So then,
I mean, sometimes the announcer does have a bad habit of stating the obvious, but I'm guessing that's more of a refresher. Considering, keep in mind we can watch this in a binge, but at that point, if they were watching it as it aired in Japan, it would have been probably a couple of years.
Yeah.
Or at least maybe over a year. Who knows?
That's true.
It would have been quite a while, so maybe that's why it's there.
Anyway, so the other flaw, which is great, just so the solar flare is one thing, and then we have the fact that Goku swiftly makes work of all 4 when he points out splitting yourself into four means 1/4 the strength, and it's just this great reveal of like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, I mean, knocks them all out at once.
So I
I mean,
love that.
while watching that, I was about to ask you, like, if he knocks out one of them, would that count as a victory?
I would say so, but unless he can make them just disappear when after they've fallen out of the ring. But that's the thing. If
but it happened too quickly where it wouldn't even matter.
yeah, that's the thing. It happened that quickly. So
Yep. So basically, Tien now realizes that he's not even close to being in the same class as Goku anymore.
by the way, we should mention we do have Launch at the fight, and she's very head over heels for Tien Shinhan, and
She's rooting for him.
yep. So she's in the crowd, and I love that she's in her pretty red dress because she wants to she wants to cheer on Tien.
Yep.
And I love that I love that she's really shy about how she feels with Tien, despite her loudmouth, kind of blonde persona. There, it's so funny when Goku to tease Tien, he basically to demonstrate his speed, he pulls the belt from his pants and
and she's like covering her eyes, but part of her's peeking.
Exactly. So just it's the fan service goes both ways, kids.
I mean, we've seen multiple people in their underwear.
That's true.
So now we get Tien as well.
Well, I mean, it could, good news is, it wasn't like, Goku's dropped trail fully in the show. Thankfully, Tien's probably counting as lucky stars on that one.
Well, the only time we saw it with Goku was when he was a kid.
Well, that's what I mean, just when Goku was a kid. So, thankfully.
Which was fine for some reason.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a cultural thing. I don't know. Anyway, the point being.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason. I think that's probably one of the main reasons why on Crunchyroll this series has like a nudity tag attached to it.
Well, yeah, I mean beyond Goku, but
I mean, that's what I mean. Like the Goku.
It's a central plot point, Jacob. I don't care what anyone says with Bulma.
I mean, like I said, that's probably why it has a nudity tag attached to its rating board.
Yeah, if anyone says like, wait, no, we can't include nudity. Wait, okay, tell me, how do they get the 3-star bowl? Okay, fine, you can have the nudity. All right.
Oh God. Yeah, like remember, this was the same show where that happened.
Yep.
This is the same show where I'm not even gonna explain.
Okay, let's press on. The point being, Launch is there. Tien, again, it's an awesome fight that gives us, the match that you'd expect in the finale, and it lives up to it though. It feels very satisfying. It was a fun battle, and just shows you how strong Goku's got. If he's already beaten the guy that he just narrowly beat. Well, he was the people's champ with, not Peregrine. He was the actual people's champ with. Last time during the last tournaments. It was to show you, okay, Goku's definitely surpassed. He defeated Tien with far less efforts. And honestly, it still feels like he was holding back, too.
And which even Tien notices.
It's technically, if he ditched those weights during the start of the fight, he would have taken him out like that.
Yeah, but I think he wanted to give Tien a fair shot.
And, Goku also needed the training, too.
The challenge.
Yeah. Okay,
I mean, it's this arc that kind of establishes Goku's desire to have a challenge.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's always kind of wanted to challenge, wanted to get stronger, but this is like really the one to like establish, like as we even see later with what happens to Junior. Like
I would say so. I would say that with earmark, this is like the turning point of that. Yeah.
It's like, and so speaking of Junior, the next fight is Hero versus Junior.
So we reveal before the fight that Kami knows, so Goku confronts Hero knowing that he's Kami, and basically he's like, "Why? Why are you doing this?" And he basically explains to him he's possessed this guy's body, harmlessly. He's possessed his body so he can get to this fight, so he can get to the match and go up against Junior. And
to be fair, that kind of does have a funny result.
Does so. Which, by the way, I want to say Chris Sabat is doing the voice of Hero, which is adds to the comedy, if that's true. I think. Could be wrong.
All right.
I don't think it's the same voice as Shen, but, I don't know.
Now, is Shen played by Chris Sabat?
No. Shen's played by the Pilaf voice actor. The guy plays Pilaf.
The name's Apparently, he is. Apparently, he is Chris Sabat.
Yeah, okay, that tracks. All right.
Hero is voiced by Chris Sabat.
Yeah,
Apparently,
there you go. Had a feeling.
So,
Anyway, so Kami ultimately knows that Goku, despite the training, it's not that Kami doesn't believe in Goku, but he's always kind of known this about Goku, and it really feels that it's unclear from the beginning if Kami either realized at a certain point that Goku, he as strong as Goku is, he won't kill Junior, which is what needs it was most likely was going to need to be done. Like Kami knew from the beginning that if Junior dies, I'm going to die, but I'm okay with that if it saves the world.
yeah.
And kind of they kind of he kept this from Goku in the hopes that Goku would be able to fulfill this mission, and just he would maybe be none the wiser about it. Which then led to Plan B here, which is okay. Maybe we don't have to. It doesn't have to go there if I can take care of Junior myself here. And it's this whole thing of like, he's willing to die as a last resort because there's something kind of holy about Kami to a degree where it's like he can't commit suicide, otherwise that would instantly solve the Junior problem. He can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this great thing where again I love that he loves Goku to pieces, and at the very least he trained him as like the ultimate help to the kid because he knows he likes to get stronger. It's kind of like more of like again because the idea that as we get to later on, Goku is being a pure heart, as we've established in this show. Goku is kind of the best that humanity has to offer, at least humanity in quotes until we get to DBZ. But let's not focus on that right now. The best that humanity has to offer, some way, shape, or form, even human, technical or no. He is, he's a person on this planet that really, touched Kami and showed him like the potential for good and strength. And he's basically what Kami always wanted to be in terms of like being strong and worthy of power, but also being fundamentally good without having any evil in him. So Goku is very much the wish fulfillment of what Kami always wanted to be. So I really like that it's like Kami's a position where he knows that Goku's not going to be able to do it. He doesn't want to put him in that position essentially. So he's kind of found an out where hopefully this plan will work. So he really surprises Junior during this fight, especially when they speak Namekian, or it's a demon language, but essentially it's Namekian. They don't know it's Namekian yet, but essentially it's Namekian.
Yeah.
And he's kind of throwing him for a loop there, and then he basically pulls the reveal that he is indeed Kami, and he uses the evil pulls like a little bottle from his pocket, not a weapon, a little bottle from his pocket, and he takes out. I love that. I love the idea of miniaturizing because no one ever thought of it because it'd just be a harder target to hit, but you could do it in theory. So, pulls out a little bottle and he uses the evil containment wave.
Yeah, but Piccolo's wise to his tricks and reverses it.
Yeah, which again would make sense. The next generation of Piccolo, he would learn from his father's defeats, so he would, he would apply that. He's done training of his own since he was, again, it's been 3 years, but he's done a lot of training.
Oh yeah, so he manages to catch Hero in the evil containment wave, but fortunately, Kami spares the body and separates from it.
Yeah.
Basically leaving a confused middle-aged man wondering what the heck's going on.
It's very, very, very classy. And Kami's like, I won't let you take this body, and he releases the body of the poor schlub.
Yeah, but then I love the scene where like he's wandering back at his son, like, Dad, I didn't know you could fight. I have the strongest dad in the world. He's like, and the entire time he's like wondering what. That's great.
Very funny payoff.
It is it's like one of the last vestiges of the gag manga.
Yep. Then things get serious. So Goku. So we have this bit. So after all this, the body's been freed. Junior's won the fight, and Junior, Goku demands the bottle back, and Junior swallows it.
Like father, like son.
Yep, it's like, oh no, this is bad. And Goku is just so cheesed off. Everyone's like, Goku, what's wrong? So Goku, he loops everyone in on the truth. So they all know that okay, Piccolo's back. He's been reincarnated, and we gotta stop him. And he basically swallowed God. So we're gonna have to,
Only in this show can you probably say something like that.
Yeah. So this leads to the finals and the epic rematch. Well, the quote unquote rematch, because he fought the father, but this is like the revenge match, the grudge match.
Yep. So now it's like he kept King Piccolo, but like no, Piccolo Junior is here to avenge his father.
Yes. So Goku versus Piccolo Junior. This is the one of the, if not the potential definitive Dragon Ball fight. That gives, I would argue, a fight so important gives birth to Dragon Ball Z. Like, we don't have Dragon Ball Z without this fight.
Oh yeah,
This is the one that raised it. This is the one that gave us a taste of like what we would see in Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, this, especially considering now this fight goes on for like 5 episodes.
Well, yeah. Now, to be fair, the TN fight, the original TN fight, went on for 5 episodes, so that's serviceable.
I know, but I think this probably goes on. I don't know if it goes on for longer.
No. It's 5 episodes.
I was, I was just, I was,
No, you're right on the money, Jake. It's 5 episodes.
I was just guesstimating too.
Technically 4.5, but let's not split hairs because there's exposition, then the fight starts. But it's 5 episodes.
Round it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely like one of the most intense fights so far.
Oh yeah. So we have a number of Toriyama money shots. With certain like strikes and blows that Goku strikes. One of which we're using as our thumbnail.
Yeah, but like it's kind of strange that there were very few images to pick from for this arc. I mean, we knew going into this that we wanted Goku versus Piccolo, but
and we had, look, to be fair, we had options, but this one always felt this was like the punch from the manga. So we kind of,
it's like one of those like things you would take from a manga, or like you would have it framed.
Yeah, and plus the Kakarot game like replicates these flawlessly. It's like not in you actually fighting the guy, but like we had the cutscenes, like they adapted very flawlessly.
Yeah, like I need to play that game now.
Yeah, it's so good.
And also get Sparking Zero, but that hasn't been on sale for like a while.
Yeah. I mean, Kakarot's pretty on sale, Jake. If you're ever gonna get it,
I have Kakarot on. I have Kakarot. It was free for PlayStation Plus.
Oh well, you just go for the DLC, man.
I mean, like I'm trying to play through the game and then do the DLC.
Well, I mean, all right.
I know. I mean, I know.
Okay,
but yeah, this is like this match is like you can tell how you can just see how like it keeps getting more and more visceral. The way they keep like you see these two fighters at like currently at their current apex, pushing each other to their limits, exerting themselves to the extreme.
Oh yeah, like Piccolo's like threatening the crowd and eventually terrifies everyone when the turban gets destroyed and we see the antenna of horns.
Like, it's Piccolo!
So it leads to a mass exodus of a panicked crowd, and then Goku.
Everyone except the announcer.
Well, and kind of Goku's core friends.
Well, yeah.
I love the friends are like impressed, like, oh man, he's really committed to this.
Well, I think he wants to know who wins.
Well, I think this is his whole job. Like this guy, I love the fact that the announcer's been through thick and thin. Like he is there during these moments of terror in the ring.
The last few matches have been quite interesting with him. Like I think the 22nd one was the only one where no near end of the world shenanigans happened.
True.
I mean the first one, like it ended.
Well, that technically that happened right after the tournament. He was there for that. He saw a murder. Like Krillin got killed, so he was there.
Well, and what I mean is, like in the first one, you see Goku turning into the Uzaru.
Yep.
I mean, the 22nd one, like sure you see the murder, but that obviously happens after the tournament's over.
It was like right in front of him, though.
Yeah, I know, but. So it's like basically, yeah, something bizarre happens in every single world tournament.
Yeah.
And this one,
this is kind of all three.
Yeah, you get to see deaths. You don't get to see AIDS, but you do get to see something giant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a giant thing. The ring gets destroyed. There's the threat of so technically we don't have a death, but there's a lot of seeming deaths going on.
And the moon doesn't get destroyed this time either.
Well, yeah. Well, it wasn't a night battle, so.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so the point being, the fight's going on. I love that Goku has to save the crowd during the fight. By the way, where he has to like redirect a blast, or like jump up so the blast gets through.
Basically, draw Piccolo's attention away from the crowd.
Exactly.
Give them time to escape.
I love. Okay, so here's something that kind of it's a thing where it's like you and I know this, but like in the moment, like when the logic that this is operating under is like, it's go. Sorry, let me put it to you this way. So Goku listens to Master Roshi during this fight. It's a really great bit where he's about to use the Super Kamehameha wave. And Master Roshi says, "Don't do that," because he swallowed Kami. So like, okay, you're right. I shouldn't do that. And then Krillin later on has this great moment where he realizes like, Goku, just use the Dragon Balls to bring Kami back. He says, "Oh yeah, you're right. Use the Super Kamehameha wave." So again, it's like the information you and I know is that okay. So but technically, the audience kind of knows. We know that. We know if one dies, the other dies. We knew that like in the essentially our epilogue from the last arc. Kami told this to Mr. Popo. I don't know. I forget if he spelled out the whole Dragon Ball thing, but it's like this is some information I think just collectively we know, but in the universe, I don't think we revealed yet until like the end of this fight.
Yeah.
That the Dragon Balls go with Kami.
It's like which Goku of all people realizes.
Yeah.
Like Goku's the one to realize like if like are you capable of lying, Kami? Basically calling him out on like if I kill you, won't the Dragon Balls go too? Since he created them.
Yeah.
So, which, but we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. We're jumping ahead there. So,
so the fight, as I mentioned, is extremely visceral. Both being pushed to their limits.
What's great in the voice acting here is so Goku is bantering with Piccolo, but he's doing it for a strategic reason. He's stalling so he can recover some strength.
Yeah,
which is great.
Like, but then he also begins to egg him on in the middle of it too.
Well, that's you're right. That's where kind of like he shouldn't go that far with it, but still Goku's he is trying to draw some strength back, but at the same token though he is very much doesn't like bullies.
No, he doesn't. He's not a big fan of bullies.
Yeah. So this leads to Giant Piccolo Junior, which again foreshadow of another iconic future fight that's on the near horizon. And this is something that we call back later in the Lord Slug movie, where the Namekians can grow to this size. They can grow.
We're probably not going to cover any of the movies though.
Most likely not, but they might pop up here and there. But it's not.
I mean, especially considering one of the Dragon Ball Z arcs is a sequel to one of the movies.
Yeah, that's a thing. So we'll cover things as we get there. And the point being, so Lord Slug, you have a Namekian bad guy who grows, to basically what Piccolo Junior grows to here.
And it has a movie budget, so it's probably even more climactic.
Oh yeah. So this was always great. Just the giant Piccolo thing. This was like a thing when you read the manga. Oh my god, I had no idea Piccolo could do that. It's amazing.
Yeah, we never saw King Piccolo do that, so.
Yeah, it does make you wonder though if well, we'll get into it when we get the Saiyan Saga. Just put a pin in like Piccolo does technically have the ability to do this, but he doesn't use it again.
Yeah, there's a lot of things there's a lot of moves and techniques that you see in the original Dragon Ball that you never say, wait, do they ever do this again?
Yeah.
Like that would have been really handy against this future enemy.
Yep. Anyway, so Giant Piccolo Junior. It's a really cool thing, and I love that Goku is not in it. Initially, he's freaked out by it, but then he's flipping the giant.
Like he's flipping him, and he even comes up with a pretty clever idea.
Yeah, so he goads him into growing even bigger,
and then he
Kamehameha waves himself down Piccolo's throat.
Yep, he gets eaten.
I love he's like beating him up from the inside, and then he gets he grabs he did all this to get the Kami bottle, and then he tosses he jumps out of there, he jumps out of Piccolo's mouth, and he throws at the Tien like Tien Shinhan, open the bottle now.
And then, I mean, Piccolo then shrinks down to size, like maybe realizing that being giant isn't necessarily giving him a good advantage.
Yeah, it's just you're just a bigger target.
Yeah, maybe that's why he never does it again.
That's true, but well, obviously there's one fight that would have come in handy.
Yeah. I think I know exactly the fight you're talking about.
Yeah.
Versus a certain prince.
Yeah, where it's like, had Piccolo been around at that point during the fight, it would have been really, it would have come in handy.
A certain prince.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, also we have like, a lot of cool tricks here and there, like Goku uses the foot Kamehameha wave.
which is something that even Master Roshi was surprised by.
By the way, in the DLC,
He uses it.
you can use the foot Kamehameha wave.
Oh yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, you can use the super Kamehameha wave, the regular, and the foot.
Obviously, probably with the right combo. Right combo.
Well, I mean, not the same time because you have to pick one Kamehameha wave. But yeah,
I know what I mean is like you have to do the button combo.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. So anyways, Kami intervenes during the fight, trying to say, Goku, we should team up and take him down. He intercepts a punch.
And Goku's like, no! The tournament's still going on.
Yep. This means the world to him because Goku, again, it's the third time he's been here, and it's just like I keep getting so close to winning these things. I have to win this, Kami. Don't take this away from me, man. I can beat him.
And then he allows one punch from Piccolo,
which is something he learned from Tien in the last tournament.
Yep. And so but then he gets knocked over. I was like, good thing there's a wall here.
Good old Goku. Such honor and such honor.
Yep.
All right, so then we have the awesome.
It is kind of nice that the announcer allowed it to happen, though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we have this. This awesome bit where we have the tracking blast, where Piccolo fires this blast, this big key blast at Goku, and it's tailored. It's like a heat-seeking missile. But Goku runs.
But basically, Goku like shows like how much of a strategist he is by like basically he realizes it's following him, so he leads it back to Piccolo.
Yeah, we have this great pose where he's like running right up to Piccolo, smiling in his face, and then dodging at the very last second, so it slams right into him.
For a moment, I thought he was going to try to duck underneath, slide through Piccolo's legs or something.
Yeah.
It sounds like something that he could possibly do.
Yeah, maybe.
As well.
He doesn't want to be behind him when the blast goes off either, so
Yeah, fair point.
Anyway, so this is great. This is a blast that was so powerful it ended up it ripped off. It damaged Piccolo's arm so much that he then ripped it off and grew a new one.
Yep. So it doesn't matter if you dismember Piccolo or not; you can just grow back another limb.
Oh yeah, and that regeneration that might come back in the form of another Dragon Ball Z villain.
Yep.
All right. So
a very terrifying one.
So then we have a move. I forget what the exact title of it is, but essentially it's like the the Demon Energy Bomb move, where Piccolo basically turns his body into like a living like a living atom bomb.
And now even Goku's like, get out of here as fast as you can.
He's in a panic. So we have Tien coming in with the save when he uses the Tri-Beam to create this giant. Like he did in the last tournament, he creates like a kind of a foxhole of sorts. Everyone kind of gets into launch, kicks Kami into the hole, which still cracks me up.
Yeah, she's literally kicking God into the hole.
Yep, like get in the hole, geezer.
Yeah, she's straight up calling God a geezer.
Which again, we only have so much time left with launch, Jacob. So you should really appreciate what we get.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss her.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. So also we have this bit here where sorry, give me 1 sec here. Yeah, so launch kicks Kami into the hole, and then so the arena is gone. Like civilization kind of wiped out. Thankfully, the announcer also okay.
Everything looks like it's now a desert wasteland.
Which is a callback to the fight with Piccolo Senior, where there was we used a move very similar to this, and he kind of decimated everything.
And later, Toriyama, as of in the last few years, Toriyama did have a manga like Desert Land, I think.
Oh yeah.
So not foreshadowing, but kind of a funny reference I could do now.
Yeah.
So
Piccolo is just shocked that Goku has survived this, and then Goku, he's landing the iconic blows. We have like this where he punches him in the gut, and then he elbows him. Those are like the two. There's like three big moves. Goku, he punches him in the gut, he elbows him in the face. Maybe the elbow comes first, but you know what I mean. Those happen, and then of course the third one is how he wins the fight, which we'll get to.
Well, the name of the manga is Sandland, not Desertland.
That's true. I don't know why it was. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what it was, and I was getting mixed up with it. But for clarification, that's the other recent manga that Toriyama made.
Yeah, I have friends who really like the Sandland manga.
I haven't read it yet.
Neither have I. All right. So everyone's okay. Goku is he's knocking Piccolo Junior for a loop here, and they have this great line of like, "You aim as bad as you fight." It's a great taunt from Goku.
After literally getting like shot him through the shoulder.
Well, no, not. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, after he gets shot through. So this is so brutal. Okay, so
he thought he had like after knocking Piccolo down. Literally into like some kind of hole.
So he hit him with those iconic blows. Piccolo's on his heels and down for the count, mid-count.
And by the way, he probably would have won if the announcer had started counting sooner.
God, if only. Just this announcer. We love him to pieces by the same token. Would you just count?
Yeah, but then like just as he's about to go to 10,
Goku is shot with a beam like clear through the shoulder.
Yeah, but like basically like. I mean, obviously
missed all the vital organs, which is where we get the line like, "You aim as bad as you fight."
Obviously they can't show a clear hole through Goku, but
it's bleeding pretty bad though. So it's.
I mean, it's definitely implied that he wasn't just that he was shot straight through, and he has a big hole like right in his right in his shoulder.
Oh yeah, it's gruesome.
Yep.
And then what makes it worse?
What's that?
Well, Piccolo during this fight, it's not just Goku does have a gaping hole there, which again they're darkening in the color so they don't freak the kiddies out too much. But to make things worse, though, Piccolo, he is brutally stomping on the wound and elbows the wound. The elbow inside the wound.
Yeah, I remember that, and I'm actually kind of like my body's actually kind of cringing right now thinking about
it's like,
it.
Oh god.
Like my body's actually like that thing where they kind of like crumple up, kind of, and you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Like where you're like kind of like cringe, like you kind of like hug your body together. Like I don't. I'm explaining it very poorly.
Gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Basically makes you shudder.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like makes you almost like you can almost feel it happening. Like you imagine it happening, and you're like, oh god.
Yeah. So anyway, so Goku goes the distance majorly here. He takes all the Junior's torture here. Much like from his dad too, but only this time all of Goku's limbs kind of go here. Like instead of just like all but one, it's like he doesn't have that one arm anymore. It's like, oh boy.
Oh boy.
So all the limbs. Then so Piccolo goes to finish Goku off, and we have this big fake out, like a big blast, where it seems like okay, Goku is nowhere to be seen, and they're all starting to weep over him. And Krillin looks up like, "Wait a minute, look!"
Toriyama likes to pull that stunt a lot.
Yeah, but it's cool.
It is cool. It's like he's gonna like it gets to the point where like there's a big blast. They don't see anything. You're like he's in the sky, isn't he?
So. Then they have this awesome shot of Goku barreling at Mach 10 from the air towards Piccolo from behind him. And he turns around right at the right moment for Goku to headbutt him.
And he says, "Told you I'd win."
Yep. It's awesome. Again, Goku's thick head of all the things. Goku is the hardest head in all of anime. So he just he bashes. He bashes Junior right in with the third move is the headbutt at Mach 10 right to the chest and knocks him.
Which did kill his father.
Well, to be fair, Goku punched through his father though.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a Falcon punch of sorts, or Saiyan punch, I guess. Well, it was more of an ape punch, but let's get semantical here. Anyway,
but still, it's like he was definitely leading with his head though.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong. He did punch through King Piccolo.
Yeah. So, anyway, so Goku has headbutted him, and in doing so, he knocked him. He knocked Piccolo out of the ring, and like the announcer, like, wait, did I knock him far enough outside the ring? There's pretty much no ring left. There's like a very slight raise in the debris field, and the announcer like, looks, yes, Goku has won.
Like, keep in mind, Goku can't even barely move.
Well, he can't move at all right now. I think all of his limbs are essentially like, if not broken, they're all like worn out.
Yep, and Piccolo's lying on the ground, like his body's shaking. He's knocked out. Goku's like,
Convulsing.
Well, yeah, revolting thing. Goku's like, did I win?
Like, yes.
And he's like, yeah, Goku wins.
So Goku's finally won, and everyone rushes to him, kind of Rocky style. And thankfully, Yajirobe was nearby, and he gives him a senzu bean.
Yajirobe, obviously, we discussed earlier, was the mass fighter.
Which also, Yajirobe, why are you here? He's like, oh, I saw all the commotion, so I came on over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives him a senzu bean, and Goku. And this is so refreshing. Goku. Well, it's so cathartic. Goku, he leaps in the air saying what he needed to say in the first tournament. I'm the champ.
Yep. Like, but now he has the humility to go along with it.
Yep. Anyway, so he sees that Kami.
But I do love how Krillin's just like those beans can heal too.
Well, that's kind of like the logic. At least I don't know if it's for everyone, but at least for the Saiyans. I mean, I guess it technically works for everyone. The logic in Toriyama's logic is that food is the cure to all ails,
especially senzu beans.
I think so. The senzu beans, again, it's more so like you fed for 10 days, but with that logic, being fed for 10 days also strengthens you to the point where it heals you, I guess, is the idea. So,
yeah, like, your bones are broken, just eat a bean.
Again, that's essentially the logic of the world of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, so we just kind of abide by that. Yep. To be fair, though, this is the first time I guess the end of the Demon King Piccolo saga. It's the first time we've really applied the healing properties of the beans, but this is the first time he's actually been truly like broken all over,
Yep.
Okay.
So okay, go on.
So, Goku's finally won. Yajirobe fixes him right up there. I'm the champ. So Kami is about to vanquish Piccolo, and Goku stops him like mid jump. He's like, "Oh no, Kami, wait! What are you about to do, Kami?"
Basically calling him and basically saying like, "You could just revive me with the Dragon Balls. Like, if you die, the Dragon Balls go with you."
Isn't that right, Kami? Can you tell a lie? It's like, wait, what are you talking about? You created Dragon Balls, you go away, so the Dragon Balls. Like, and I love the acting on Kami was so great in this scene where he feels shame at what he's done from this pure-hearted, kind of like disciple of his, just like calling him out here.
And he basically at this point realized that he thinks that he's no longer worthy to be the guardian of the earth because of like what he said to everybody, but basically, creating Piccolo and now resorting to this to basically clean up his mess.
And the challenge that Kami poses here is something that is like a thesis statement throughout, well, really through Dragon Ball Z, but kind of through Dragon Ball and kind of starting here, is that evil can never be tamed, which is what kind of the antithesis to Goku, where Goku is all about evil absolutely can be tamed.
Pretty much.
Well, with the exception of Cell, but the evil can be tamed.
Yeah, can does not equal always will be.
Yeah, exactly. So
sometimes evil must be straight up destroyed.
True. But then we have this is a lovely.
I mean, heck, even Demon King Piccolo's testament to that.
Yeah, that's the whole exactly. He's the first in this line, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, Master Roshi is always a lovely bit that no one ever talks about. Like Master Roshi, which again the game also has this moment done really well too. That Master Roshi commends Kami on the good that he's done, and he offers real perspective on the good that he's done as the guardian of the earth. And
it's like because of the Dragon Balls that all these young people came together,
which is really great wisdom on Roshi's part. And Kami is like essentially thanks him. He tells Goku, you've been a very wise master. And
he's literally getting praised by God. So.
and Roshi's saying, "Oh no, look, I just showed him the basics. The rest was, him and himself and you, and which is such a humble. Like I love the humbleness on Roshi there.
I've been thinking about it. It's literally their equivalent to God saying, like, yeah, you did a good job.
which is wonderful. And then this moment, I gotta be honest, this moment does get me kind of weepy in the right senses here. I love where, and it's in the game too, and I love it where it's this bit where Kami he restores Goku's outfit with the turtle symbol and everything on it. He says like,
where with pride.
Wear the turtle symbol with pride, Goku.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that's beautiful. That's like the ultimate, like tip of the hat to Master Roshi if I've ever heard one. It's like Kami like approving of like Master Roshi.
Yeah.
So then Goku gives Piccolo a sensu bean, and they're all thinking, "Are you shrink wrapped? What are you? Are you nuts?" And so, but Goku, he doesn't want him to. Not that he would have died right now, but still, like he wants a rival. It was the right thing to do after everything. It's an act of kindness that really does. Even though Piccolo will never admit it, it's an act of kindness that I think did ultimately go a long way deep down. Where he fixed me up. It was an act of kindness that it's inspired me to still like try and think of ways to kill him. But
yeah. I mean, basically, it's like I said. That's pretty much the clip where Goku's like basically realized that he needs something to do to train. So he's creating a rival for himself, basically.
Which again, per the whole thing. So Goku again having the whole end point of the story here, at least for Dragon Ball in itself, is that Goku has become, like I said, he's become the unstoppable martial arts force, like Jackie Chan. Now that he's kind of earned it, he doesn't have an ego about it. He's grown up. He's to the point where he can actually be like the unachievable mountain that will just keep getting stronger, and no one will be able to measure up to, but will inspire the generations of martial artists to come. So Master Roshi's he's become what Tien Shan was kind of meant to be.
And it even got to the point where even Kami asked him to be the new Kami.
Yeah, but good put a pin in that real quick.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, that's the thing. I just love that, Goku is still seeking self-improvement, so he's kind of like, on some level, Goku's realized, the need for that, the need for a kind of a perpetual rival, and he's kind of designated that to Piccolo. So again, he's kind of like, I think on some level he's hoping to redeem Piccolo, but maybe like this, rivalry be a healthy way for him to channel it versus like trying to hurt other people. So,
Yeah.
So they're all starting to make their goodbyes. We see Chiao says, okay. And then Kami offers Goku the job of Earth's Guardian,
which Goku denies.
He turns him down. He very, very nicely. He's like, "Oh, look, I don't, look, you're doing a fine job. Plus, I'm just gonna get bored up there.
It's like it's not what he has. It's not what he wants. It's not what he wants out of life. It's not the adventure that he's looking for.
Now, there's my one criticism, okay?
Yeah.
This is something, so but the whole, like, if we ever did a Kai version of Dragon Ball, I think we should adjust the dub on this scene, or at the very least we should like use the manga version of how this scene was supposed to go. So the Kakarot game uses the manga ending of this scene, which is pitch perfect. Unfortunately, I was kind of chagrined to see, oh man, the line didn't make it. So Goku, he does like the nah thing, and he gets Chi-Chi playfully, and he gets Chi-Chi on the cloud, which yes, canonically she can ride Nimbus, and guess how they met, kind of. Well, it's how they got how Goku kind of learned she was a girl, and they ride off, and it's this beautiful ending where they ride off to the next adventure, which again, per how the thing goes, it's like we don't see what happens next. It's just like they're going off they're going off into the sunset on a Nimbus, and I think Roshi or like Kami or somebody says like, "Hey, you going, Kami? You're gonna go after him?" She's like, "No, I don't. I wouldn't dare stop him or something. Even if I could stop him, I wouldn't dare stop him." So that's the line that was so good. And I really wish that was like the end of like this part of the story. But we just have like a random gag with Roshi. It's like, I don't know, like
Where he gets hit by a coconut.
yeah, you can tell like a coconut. It always felt really dumb to me. That to me was like the only note I have was like that was such a downgrade from what's in the manga and like how we've seen it adapted elsewhere. It's like no, it was like a really nice like resuscitation on like this is this is like kind of Kami's last word on like what Goku he can do what he wants. He's he earned it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then we have our epilogue, which I've always liked the epilogue, and of course, completely on the end that we have technically again, sans the coconut, flawless. It's a good ending. If we never saw Goku again, that basically that propels us in the Dragon Ball Z pretty flawlessly. But this epilogue is really nice. It's a nice little side adventure for Goku and Chi-Chi, and gives us like it's almost like a pilot for a spin-off, which ultimately becomes Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, and it is nice to actually see them prepare for the wedding and all that.
Yeah, so again, like I said, tournament's perfect end to it, but this is a nice bonus, where the Ox King is
basically a coda, like a low stakes coda.
Yeah.
Well,
So
low stakes, but yeah.
In a nutshell, so the Ox King is very happy. He gives Chi-Chi her mom's wedding dress. Problem: Frying Pan Mountain is now on fire again.
Fire Mountain, isn't it for just Fire Mountain?
I could have sworn they said Frying Pan Mountain.
I know there is a Frying Pan Mountain. I thought that's where the Fire Eaters were.
Well, maybe that's I don't know. Maybe you're right. The point being, like Fire Mountain or what have you.
Ox King's Kingdom.
Yes.
Let's just go with Ox King's
Kingdom. The mountain's caught on fire again. Like they rebuilt the castle, now it's on fire.
Yep.
And they need the banjo fan because they can't put it out with a Kamehameha at the risk of like destroying the whole place, especially the Ox Kingdom dress.
The Ox Queen's dress, I guess.
Yeah, yes, the Ox Queen's. Which, by the way, I love that we had that. I wish we saw it more, but there was that beautiful little painting of the Ox King with Chi-Chi's mom, and she like could fit in the palm of his hand.
Yep.
You'll notice throughout the show we do scale back the size of the Ox King, which is probably for the best. But it feels like in retrospect maybe we should have kept him the size he is now in the beginning.
Yeah, but we also never actually see what Chi-Chi's mother looks like.
Well, no, we kind of, if you freeze frame, we do, but you're right though. It's like we don't really get a good look at her.
It's like oh, she's always like blocked by something.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's a really nice gesture, and I love the Ox King. So adorable when he's all fatherly, especially. I think this is like the perfect age for the Ox King. Just seeing him as like the older father, and like he's more docile, he's wearing the glasses and the hat and everything.
and he just wants to give his daughter a good wedding.
Yeah.
And which of course is the dress, gives her mother's dress. Like
and we built up this event too, like the whole fake, the whole thing with Shu pretending to be Goku. They almost had the wedding there.
Yeah, she's a little young for it there, but
yeah, it would have been like a betrothed thing, but
Yeah, but even then, it's like Chi-Chi's been dreaming of this almost her entire life, marrying the boy of her dreams.
Oh yeah, he too was oblivious. It seems to be a thing with you, Jacob. You love like the cute girl with the dark hair, and then the oblivious guy in the orange.
Yeah, but it is kind of a recurring theme for stuff I like, I guess.
Head in the clouds, the whole
Yeah, well, in this case, this one's riding the clouds.
That was my point. Yes.
I'm honestly surprised Phineas hasn't actually found a way to ride clouds yet.
Give it time.
Who knows? Maybe in the 5th season.
All right, so they need the actual banjo fan to
Isn't it banjo fan?
Well, I know it's banjo fan. I was just saying banjo. It's like the banjo fan, but the gags it sounds like banjo.
All right, I didn't. I was wondering. It does kind of sound like banjo. I just didn't know if it was like an intentional thing or what.
I mean, I could be wrong about like it might be a translation thing. But I'm pretty sure it's like the whole gag is like it's banjo, but it kind of sounds like banjo.
All right. Well, then if it was a banjo fan, maybe then Piccolo would have gone after it.
That's true. So they need the band.
Yeah. Then again, all of his are named after percussion instruments.
So they need the banjo fan to save the Ox King, to put the fire out and stop the fire and save the kingdom. Fortune teller Baba, they need her help. So we bring back Baba one last time, Jacob. I mean, in Dragon Ball. I mean, we're going to see her again, but,
So we do see her again in Z.
Yes, we do, yeah.
All
You're going to
right.
see her. You'll see her again in Z, but the point being is the last time we see her in Dragon Ball.
And it's kind of funny that we see her last, and basically she's the last thing we actually see in Dragon Ball.
Which is, again, I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Yep. Think so. So like, you need to seek an octagon. And that's the clue.
Yeah, so which, by the way, initially we bring Baba to Oolong's village with the Bansho Spa.
Yeah, and basically Goku at first thinks that these other two pigs are oolongs.
Yep. So we kind of get a little bit of Oolong's origin there.
Like Jasmine and Yunnan.
All named after tea.
Yep.
Again, Toriyama, he writes hungry. If we've learned anything about Toriyama, he writes hungry or in a need for, or making it. Anytime Toriyama makes a shopping list, he creates characters.
Yep, it's like, okay, let's
either food or underwear, or you name it, or musical instruments. He's every time makes a shopping list.
Yep, or tea.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, ice is like, okay, what do I have in my freezer?
Freezer. Aha!
Exactly.
Oh,
I'm surprised there wasn't a character named Fridge. Or is there a character named Fridge?
Well, I forget. No,
I know there's a cooler, or at least
soup.
I know there's at least a cooler in like the movie, but
well, in Super we did like more cold related names. I don't know if Freeze if that made the cut or not.
I mean, I'm honestly surprised there isn't a fridge.
That's what I'm saying. Fridge might have made the cut. I'm not sure.
I have to. But
we had someone who had another ice pun name. I don't know if it was like if it was Fridge or not.
Yeah, I'll have to check. I'll have to check on that.
Anyway,
yeah.
So we have Baba's help. We basically they're on a hunt for the fan. They have to visit. They go back to kind of the beginning of it with Kame House, where the turtle's there. So again, in real time, they're all taking a flight where Goku just showed up with on the Nimbus.
And it was nice to see the turtle one last time.
Yeah.
But he's like, he didn't recognize Goku either.
Yep, well, he wasn't at the tournament. That's why.
Yep, he's like, but he realized like, Goku, it is you. which is it's nice. It's like reuniting with an old friend again.
Yeah, and again, taking it back to the beginning where Goku meets that turtle before he meets Roshi. So
It was like the turtle. Like if he didn't save the turtle, and it just
whole
originally
life would have been different.
If he had just eaten the turtle like he had originally planned. Remember, because he was originally planning like eating it.
Yeah, I don't know how serious Goku was about eating it. Plus, the turtle was sentient. It wasn't going to eat like a sentient thing like that.
I know, but I think that's what he was doing at first. But if he had just let the turtle go on his way, things would have gone very different for Goku.
Yeah, so again, Goku's kindness.
Yep, and now the turtle's helping him, even though the help ended up being ultimately pointless.
Yeah, so basically, like they find the book. It seemingly has instructions to build a Bansho fan, which ultimately is BS. The Master Roshi's made this book to impress girls.
Yep, it's like, dang it! Like at that point, I was like, so this entire episode was pointless.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
the only thing that got it was the shell, which was the eggshell, which we didn't even know about until later.
Yeah. Okay, meanwhile, the Pilaf gang, we bring them back one last time.
Yep. And they're just basically doing whatever.
Yeah, they're looking for the next plot. So it all comes full circle to Goku versus the Pilaf gang again, where they want the fan. Why? Because Goku wants it. That's the only reason. So they go to this essentially a sexist mountain. Like the mountain gets.
Yeah, that's never really explained, is it?
Yeah, no, not really. It's kind of funny, but it's.
Yep.
Not a horror gag, but it's like, okay, it's a sexist mountain.
It's never really explained. Like if you're a woman, there'll be a storm on the mountain.
Yeah. So kick Mai off the mountains, the whole thing.
I mean, seriously, like now, why? Like, if it was explained like there was like a curse on it or someone
I
women,
think the joke is that women can be frigid. I think that's the idea.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything myself,
No,
but
I think that's what the old colloquialism is. I think that's what the joke is.
I mean, seriously, there's really no good explanation for it. Like no curse, like no person living on the mountain that doesn't want women there.
Nope.
It's just like if you're a woman, this mountain will be stored. We have a bunch of snow on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Not really.
It's kind of funny though, in a weird way. And it is kind of adorable how Goku thinks he can just carry the snow back.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
He's like, if I get enough snow, I can carry it back to the castle.
Yeah. It's a very foolhardy plan ultimately, but it's again filler. We're filling episodes to a degree here.
And of course this Octagon lady, and when we get to Octagon, we get to see her basically conning Chi-Chi into doing chores.
Well, I mean, she's actually training her. It's Chi-Chi's wife training though.
Yeah, but it's framed as doing that, but it's also her like definitely getting Chi-Chi to do chores for her.
Miyagi kind of did the same thing, but you know.
Yeah, but at least that's more useful.
Well, hey, Chi-Chi became a really good wife.
Yeah, she did. She did. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it all paid. The point is she's gifted honey, which is going to come in handy later.
Yeah.
All right. So, point being, they completely luck out.
They find the fan. Chi-Chi doesn't even realize it's the fan. She just thinks it's a dustpan.
Yep. And so they have the fan. They go back there. They use the fan. No dice. And then Baba like warns them, no, stop! You're actually fanning the flames and making them worse. No, stop! You gotta. She did some research. She found out it's you got to go to essentially you got to go to this halfway point to other world, which is like the gate of the five elements.
Yeah. And so no one's ever made it there alive.
Yeah, so Goku and Chi-Chi showing some really good teamwork. They brave it and they together as a couple, really nicely. You know, they go up against the the security. And then awesomely, this is the best part. Well, it's kind of the best and worst part of the epilogue to me because I'm on the fence about it. On one hand, I love that Chi-Chi gets to meet Gohan. You know, the idea Gohan is like guarding a Min, who is like essentially the keeper of the runs like the furnace of the world furnace.
She finally gets to meet Grandpa Gohan.
Yeah, so this is
and it's even cute because Gohan is like, it's like I remember when you were a baby.
Yeah, so you know, Chi-Chi has like some brief history with Gohan. Gohan knows her father, and ultimately, she names her kid Gohan. So it's very relative that it's very appropriate that she would be able to. It's really nice. It's unneeded, but it's nice that she'd be able to meet Gohan. You know.
Yeah, but at the same time,
we do that, and I love that. I'm not thrilled with how we have kind of a forced fight, and I don't like how that breaks down.
It's basically like you have this awesome, epic, climactic fight with Piccolo, and then this lady with the weird hair things.
Yeah, so Amid is kind of like this kind of again kind of a monitor of it's kind of hard to describe because I forget what her actual I forget what the actual name on her, like the moniker she had. Essentially, she was like she runs the furnace that basically is like the engine that allows spirits to pass between living and other world. That's essentially what she's doing. Essentially, so it's very key. As if this furnace goes out, the whole world plunges in the darkness, and it takes like 200 years to get it to turn on again if it were turned off. And basically, there's like a hole in the furnace, which is why, like geographically, on the other side of the world, the Ox King's mountain keeps catching on fire. So they got to patch that hole. But initially, I don't like the initial part of it where Goku is really disrespectful to Amin, and it really pains me to see Grandpa Gohan, kind of disappointing Goku. That really hurts me.
Yeah.
And that's like the one. Look, I'm not saying Goku has to be perfect, but it's like Gohan's kind of something sacred, and I love that Gohan is like. I will go to a point where I love that Goku is like in a panic over saving the Ox King, which is great, and him like explaining this to Gohan, who he knows loves the Ox King, is like, and Gohan's trying to explain, no, Goku, you don't understand, you can't just like turn this. You can't turn the furnace off, and and like he's like, Grandpa, help me! Would you help me? Like convince her to not do this. But the moment Goku slaps the noodles out of her hand and is kind of talking tough to him, man,
saying, "I'm not hungry."
I didn't like that.
It's one of the few times Goku explicitly says he's not hungry.
And look, that tracks for his character. I'm not making any bones about like him, like in the situation, like him not being hungry means someone's gonna go down.
Yep.
The point being is, it seems like we forced a fight where ultimately they had a very amicable solution. Where it's like, okay, look, there's something you can do, but it's very dangerous. Why couldn't we just gotten to that part sooner?
Yeah.
So that's my other nitpick with kind of that's my nitpick in terms of the story. And the one thing earlier in this, the ending for the Demon King Piccolo Junior thing, and then we have this.
Yep.
So it's a tense mission. This is great. It's a tense mission. Goku has to go down with the parts they luckily were able to acquire with the eggshells and the honey to basically be able to patch the octagon.
I mean, I love how it kind of like leads it to be like, it's like, oh, are they going to go on another quest this time?
No. It's great. There's Goku jumps down, uses the fan.
What I mean is like she tells them the things that they need, like the eggshell from a fire eater and honey from an octagon-shaped honeycomb.
It's very lucky. Like, oh my god, we just happen to have those things.
Yes.
Very convenient, but look, we're near the end, so
it just makes you wonder why they couldn't have just, instead of us going through all this and filling out all these episodes, they couldn't have just had like just done the wedding at the end of the fight.
Yeah. Which again, essentially the Kakarot game kind of does. Essentially it's a wedding, like a wedding album. You see like a picture of the wedding. That's about it.
So that's what they kind of should have done here.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, but yeah, it's kind of fun. It's fun seeing Goku and Chi Chi do stuff together, and
I mean, to be fair, you don't really see that a lot in Z. Considering a lot of times he spends dead. So.
That's what I'm saying. I love it when we do stuff like that. And there's a flashback episode with Gohan where we kind of see like again the newlywed, like the new parent kind of life between them, which was nice. So I love those kind of slice of life moments of Goku and Chi Chi, which we never do.
Yeah, so
again, seeing kind of the brief, kind of engaged newlywed years is a lot of fun. Anyway, so it's a tense mission. Goku goes down there, he patches the hole in the furnace and gets out before it's too late, thanks to the power pole,
which he hasn't used in forever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of if anything, to give this credit, at least it does kind of remind you, like, oh yeah, he has the power pole.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time he even used the power pole?
Well, to get the Kami.
Yeah, it's like. So basically,
that's the thing. A part of me wondered, like, until I realized, we'd use it again here. It was like, yeah, does he never get the power pole back because it's being used for a practical purpose?
It's like basically for like 20 episodes, we never saw it.
Then you realize, well, he just used the Nimbus to fly to Kami after Kami's like giving him the okay, so he can just do that anytime he wants.
Yep.
All right. So, success.
Yeah.
Fire goes out, the dress is safe, and we have the wedding.
Yep, and we actually get to see Goku in a white suit.
Yeah, and it's
and of course Ox King being a happy father to see his daughter getting married.
Yeah, it's a beautiful moment in the mother's dress.
Yep. So I was like, I mean, like I said, I'm glad they included the actual wedding, but. It's like, so yep, we see what's going on, and a little peek into the future too.
Yeah, Baba is able to get a tease at Dragon Ball Z before any of us do.
Yep. Yep. So, and thus, that brings Dragon Ball to an end.
Yeah. It's we start with the Dragon Ball. We have the crystal ball into the future.
Yep.
But it's that's the end of it. What a ride!
What a ride it's been. And just commonly, is this a watch along? Dylan Jones asking, is this a Well, as long as like no, this is basically more of a recap kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
If it was a watch along, it would take eternity.
that's true.
So it's like so, Dragon. Did anything interesting happen while we were having our discussion?
Jacob, I think so.
You
Looky
know,
what I have.
is that what I think it is?
Yes, it is.
It's it's the 7 star.
You know what that means, don't you?
Go ahead, go Dragon, make the wish.
Eternal Dragon, we summon you.
State your wish.
All right, Shenron. We want to talk about more Dragon Ball. Can you make that happen?
Your wish is granted.
That boy's a Z forming in the sky.
Your wish is granted. Goku's adventures continue next time on Dragon Ball Z. I wish we had the production values for that.
Yeah, we're doing our best on that one, folks. But to answer Dylan Jones' question, yes.
Join us. So basically, Dragon. Any closing words before I sign us off?
Yeah. I mean, look again. Perspective here. Dragon Ball always meant the world to me, and still does. And it's been nice, nice reflecting and talking about it.
It is.
Yeah. I was in a dark place for. It was kind of serendipitous. I had I kind of retreated into nostalgia after I suffered a loss kind of a couple of years back, and I think I just kind of coincidentally I had Dragon Ball. I honestly I can't remember at this point. It was everything's kind of blending together. I can't remember if I had it before the bad thing happened or like the year of the bad thing happening. I needed an escape, and a buddy of mine gave me Dragon Ball, on DVD, which I kind of mentioned I would love to have. And because it was such a big part of my life growing up, where I was like, I was obsessed about in the animated series, but it stopped airing after a while, and kind of then I found Dragon Ball in the interim, and it was always like the great kind of like thing to kind of hold my attention before Batman would come back into my life, the animated series. So I always have such a debt of gratitude towards Dragon Ball and all the happy memories that it gave me and the adventure that it was, and it was this special thing. And binging it like the year in which I got the DVD set, which again, getting Dragon Ball Z on DVD is like it's a whole can of worms. I don't want to go into. Let's just say it's not as easy as you think it would be. Dragon Ball, though, pure, simple. Essentially, it's like 5 volumes. The way we tackle it, 7 seasons, but you get the idea. It's like 5 volumes, 7 seasons, however you want to quantify that. But it was a great binge. It was like reliving the nostalgia, reliving the good years of just back in the days of VHS and like finding video stores and seeing it on TV and just reading the manga. And so it was it's always a happy time. And replaying through the Kakarot game and the DLC, and it was just in doing and kind of and basically, honestly, the Kakarot game has kind of been my an additional kind of layer of research I've been doing just for the heck of it with this as well. So it's just kind of like it's a lot of fun just reconnecting with Dragon Ball, and just kind of makes me feel good, and just it's kind of sometimes it's fun to kind of retrace your roots in that regard. And Dragon Ball has kind of been that for me. And this again, the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament Saga again just really reinvigorated me in so many senses of the word, with the fandom, with the Kakarot game, and just kind of with like just seeing this great transition point between classic Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and how important this arc really was in getting to where we're going to go. And it's this wonderful tease of just how we're going to change everything, and then it's going to become this whole other, like, in fact, this could have been a franchise on its own with an ending and would have been fantastic, and still to me at the end of the day is fantastic and satiates the kid in me who was always like bumping up against, I don't need Dragon Ball Z. And at the end of the day, I'm satisfied with this. This is still gives a really good ending. But you know what, the fact that it's like you have this, and then you have this whole other separate thing that just it kind of gets debatably better and just at least more expansive, and it's just this. It's so radically different from what Dragon Ball was, but at the same time, it's like it's your old familiar friends, and we're going to these new places, and it just kind of keeps building. And Dragon Ball's been around for 40+ years, and it's just it's just wonderful.
I don't know if I don't. I'm not gonna try. I can't try and. I can't even come close to topping that.
Well, this is why you got to start when we do these endings, Jacob.
I know, but like I said, but I can just say like, I wish I could have that same level of reverence. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy my ride through this. This is my first time going through this, as I mentioned.
First ride on the Nimbus Cloud.
First ride on the Nimbus. Yeah, I'd probably fall through it. I'd probably fall through it, as probably all of us would. But
yeah.
But I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say I had a bad time. I had a great time going through this. This is something. It's one of those things you watch as an adult, but you kind of wish you had discovered as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I kind of wish. So I kind of wish I had that. I mean, like obviously, I wasn't really didn't really do much anime. I was obviously familiar with Z before I was with this, but going back and actually seeing where it all began was actually quite a fun ride, and having Dragon throughout this entire 7-arc saga that brought a lot of basically was very enlightening in many ways. Basically, seeing the characters grow over time was kind of an unforgettable experience, and one that I kind of hope to experience and show to my own children one day. See, this is the kind of stuff that I kind of watch this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
I need to walk them through a few things early on the Pilaf Saga, but aside from that, yes.
Yes, probably wait until they're a bit older.
There you go. Maybe age 13, but
Well, Crunchyroll suggests 12, so.
Well, they're fine. 12. I mean, look, it's they're gonna learn on the playground. They don't learn from you, but let Toriyama take the blame on it. It's fine.
Yes, I mean he's dead, so.
That's what I'm saying. Who's gonna argue with him? It's fine.
Exactly. I mean, we still miss him dearly, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
Folks, if there were real Dragon Balls, we would have wished them back in a heartbeat. I promise you.
Exactly. But with that, the legacy he left behind, including this, is indelible.
Yeah.
Having crafted this masterful story, full of wonderful characters, amazing fight scenes, and creative ideas. It's quite an experience, and it only gets bigger, and it's only going to get bigger and better. It's only going to get bigger from here, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. I said I can't top Dragon's nostalgia for this, but I can definitely say I enjoyed my time. So, time to sign us out one last time.
Yeah.
Having bested Piccolo Junior and started his new life with Chi-Chi, Goku's adventure seemed to be at an end. However, Dragon and Jacob summon the Eternal Dragon, wishing to see more. Meaning, Goku's journey is far from over, as it continues in Journey into Dragon Ball Z with the Saiyan Saga. Good night, everybody.